He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond nation. It's for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better. And kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor. Because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
They'll challenge your authority. They'll try to break your will. They'll push you to the edge of your sanity. Because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, not theirs. Defend it. Who makes the payments? Who cleans it? Who drives it? You do. That's who. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch. Until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn those earrings today. I like those earrings. Gabby has those awesome earrings. I need to ask her where she got those, but that's just what she would want me to do. I'll have Michaela ask her for me.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Yeah, but then Michaela will be like, why don't you just ask her yourself? That's just like Michaela.
Sarah, buckle up.
Michaela's such a great name. I wish I was called Michaela. There's like a dozen Sarahs in my class.
Hey, we're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I forget sometimes because my brain is like busy, you know? I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
Sometimes it can be tough to get through to your kids, but it's not impossible. Always make sure they're wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Remember, you have the keys, you have the power. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no two investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk adverse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stock, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value and market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through AXA Advisors LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC. Annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network LLC.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Seituha Karate. Located at 28 Colt Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu Karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit them online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Saturday, August 28th, add it to your calendar. The Sports Betting Channel presents To Be Determined. Our new show starts at 8 o'clock out here in San Diego, 11 o'clock in New York, and then we're done just in time for the first game kickoffs for college football. You're going to get 4 totally different slices of sports. Blackhawk West joins us for Saturdays in Canada and some plays for the CFL game. What do you do when the easy sports data is trending in opposite directions? Well, Mo's going to help us decide what to do on Something's Gotta Give. There's also Paulo's plays. Now, if you're not betting soccer, you really should be. And this guy is very, very good. Finally, there's Wake and Bake, where sports betting meets marijuana. Hey, the games start early here in Southern California. Now, 9 o'clock's a lot easier when marijuana is legal. It's like having more shows in one. Check it out Saturday, August 28th on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, on the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network, and on the Sports Betting Channel.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
What are you talking about?
No, it's not him. There's only one more. There is only one more. That's it. One more.
Get her ass!
No!
They saw your team put up zero effort.
Wake up!
Remember in the old days they used to have oxygen for them. Where's the oxygen?
They play like absolute just garbage.
This is the Sports Loudmouths.
Yay!
Man, can you keep it down? I'm trying to introduce here. With Errol Marks, Speedy Petey, and Tyler Harrison.
You're not even a has-been.
You're a never was. You're a never was. You're a never was.
I don't know why you're laughing so early, but all right. We are back, ladies and gentlemen.
We are the Sports Loudmouths. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my two co-hosts, Tyler Harrison and Mr. DJ Speedy Petey. Remember, you can call us at 631-672-3108. Ladies and gentlemen, you can download our app by going to iOS, WWSRN or Android Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We have a great show lined up for you. No guest tonight. It's a lot of just sports talk, banter, debating, arguing, and Speedy Petey wearing no underwear. That is this show.
This is a sports show?
This is a sports show. Yes, absolutely.
I made a right.
I will say this. I will say this. Speedy, over the last couple of months has told me he's only not worn underwear on one of our shows. Now,
when I was at my house over the Thanksgiving break that
You're
I was
right over there,
on,
Tyler.
I couldn't get in. I couldn't get into the shower because my brothers were in there, and I had to set up one of our guests, so I didn't have time. So I was in my pajamas.
So, ladies and gentlemen, yes.
Wait, hold on. I got this.
Yes.
Wait, but how did he get you to admit that you weren't wearing underwear?
He also admitted
that's how he correlated it.
Well, he also admitted.
Did you have underwear on under your pajamas?
No.
Why would you admit that to him? Anyone else, you're fine, but why him?
I don't admit it the one time. He thinks I did it more than once, which is wrong.
He also let his dog lick his ass. Okay?
I didn't let him. He did it when
I told you that's weird. You
from
should stop doing
behind.
that.
He came from behind. From behind.
What? Wait, you came from behind or the dog came from
the
behind?
dog, because the dog came from behind because he sleeps in my youngest brother's room, which when I was in college, that's where I stayed too if I came home on a weekend because my other brothers were using their rooms. So he came in when I was changing. I was changing to go to. Ironically enough, I was changing to go to my.
This story doesn't sound good.
I was changing to go to my college sports show. Ironically, so I had no pants on at the time. And being he knows how to open that door, he just snuck up and then started sniffing and then licking.
And I met his little furry friend the other day.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Well, we all know Speedy enjoyed that one. That's for sure.
I didn't enjoy it. I did not enjoy it. I was
Speedy Petey, ladies and gentlemen.
Did you call the police? You were violated
by his dog.
By a dog? They're not going to arrest the dog.
No, they might have put him out of his misery zone. Maybe he was blind or senile.
No.
Did you take a shower before he sniffed your ass?
Oh,
don't remember.
So it wasn't. It wasn't clean.
Wait, hold on. Hold on.
I don't remember.
This is going to be the most important thing of the whole conversation. Did you clench before, during, or after the dog licked your ass?
Did I clench?
Yeah. Were you like?
Did you squeeze your butt cheeks? Did you like that?
No.
Oh,
so you
I was startled.
I was startled, so it opened up.
Did you?
I didn't.
Did you jump for joy?
I didn't jump. Jump for joy?
Yeah. Like, oh.
I don't think I jumped because I was near his bed, but I was definitely.
The dog has a bed?
No, my brother's bed.
I was about to say the dog's got a bed. I mean, what a memory. I mean, I would have been startled too.
How old's the dog? How old's the dog?
7 years old.
He's now, he's now 7 years old.
See, you
At
told
the
me
time
that.
he did it, I think he was 3. I want to say either 2 or 3.
This is an old story.
Yes, this is an old
have
story.
you and the dog reconciled?
Yes.
Have you licked his ass in return?
I'm sure he has, but
oh wait, whoa, who's he?
I'm sure. No,
I was
my
licking
dog.
his dog's ass.
No,
I don't
my
know.
dog. I'm sure my dog has licked his own ass.
His dog licks his own ass. It's Tyler is spitting all over the studio. I mean, oh man. Well, this has been a great show.
No, Snug. Earl did not lick the dog's ass. I was saying my dog, Jake, might have licked his own ass.
What a name. Jake Asman?
No, my dog's name is Jake.
Well, Jake Asman. Yeah. Assman.
No, I don't. Oh. Wadi. Ha, ha, ha.
Well, interesting.
Well, Tyler still hasn't recovered. Another news.
Wow, there you go. Tyler's dying, laughing, spitting all over, spitting his water all over. Wonderful. This has been a great topic of a beginning debate of the show.
And on a side note, Jeff says, how many rolls are on the back of Tyler's neck?
Ask your mother.
Woo! Anyways, we got a great show lined up
boy.
for you guys today. We're going to get into, obviously, the NFL season. Speedy,
That was great.
what are the topics we're going to get into today?
So we're going to get into the Jets, a lot of the more injuries to their defense. We're going to get into the quarterback battles. So a lot of teams have named their quarterbacks already, but also some are pending. You wanted to get into the Jake Paul fight with Tyrone Woodley.
Tyrone Woodley.
I got it right?
yes.
Okay. And he also called out Myles Garrett and apparently wants to fight him now, which
Who?
one of the
Jake
Pauls.
Paul?
I think
Yeah,
it was
it's Jake Paul. Yeah,
We'll get into that, and we'll also get into some NBA with the trade rumors with Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal, and Ben Simmons as well.
How wonderful. And we will get into some. Most of the show is going to be in the NFL because there's a lot to talk about the NFL. The NFL is about a week and a half away. September 8th. September 9th is the first game of the season. The Cowboys and the Patriots on Thursday Night Football. Yes.
Buccaneers.
I'm sorry, the Buccaneers and the Cowboys, the Super Bowl champion Buccaneers versus the Dallas Cowboys, Thursday Night Football. What could be better, ladies and gentlemen? But first things first, I want to get into this Jake Paul, Tyrone Woodley situation. And the topic's not going to take very long because I just think this fight is insane. I think it's ridiculous. The Pauls are very good marketers, unbelievable marketers, especially pushing the fights no longer into Saturday nights. They're promoting it for Sunday night fights. The Mayweather, obviously, who's the other Paul? It's Jake and Logan Paul. The Logan Paul fight was on a Sunday night, and now Jake Paul and Tyrone Woodley is going to be Sunday night as well. I think it's a very good marketing standpoint for the Pauls. What my question here is, if Jake Paul loses this fight, if Tyrone Woodley beats Jake Paul, does this end his reign? Does this end his reign when it comes to fighting? Now, I don't think Tyrone Woodley is going to knock out Jake Paul. There's a good chance Jake Paul could knock out Tyrone Woodley because Tyrone Woodley isn't a stand-up fighter. He's really a wrestler. And I just think, what is going on with boxing now? And I think you've heard what Mayweather said after the Logan Paul, that he put up a good fight and he was very surprised of his talent and his power and his footwork. I think it was a crocky, you know what, because if you watched the fight and you actually watched, I think it was either the 5th or 4th round, Floyd actually landed a pretty good quick right punch, counter punch. Knocked him out. He was leaning on him. He held him up. And obviously he lasted throughout the whole fight. Now, Jake, who is the big mouth of the two brothers, he doesn't shut the hell up. He's all over social media. He's all over the marketing, the YouTube, the crap that he puts out there. He's on ESPN. He's on with Stephen A. Smith. He's on WFAN. He's on CBS Sports.
WWE gave him a thing.
WWE. These guys are a marketing stampede. I think these guys absolutely understand what marketing is, absolutely know where they are as two brothers that want to put money in their pockets. And over the last couple of weeks, I heard that Jake Paul can make up to $15 million on this fight, as Tyrone Woodley will make the biggest purse he's ever made in any of his fights, his MMA fights, as a champion, $4.5 million. Now, I know a lot of people are going to sit back and say Jake Paul he's a good fighter, and Jake Paul is a great salesman, and he knows how to sell it. He should be a car salesman. He really should be. But it is embarrassing to boxing. It really is. When this is an exhibition fight, there really is no referee. There's no judges. There's no nothing. And the only way you can actually win is you go there. Whoever wins, there is no winner. If the only way you can win is a knockout. And to me, the way boxing is moving, and I think boxing is in a good position right now. The Manny Pacquiao fight this past week was a great fight. Manny Pacquiao is probably going to announce his retirement after that fight. And really, where boxing is, there's so many good fighters. The heavyweight division's really, really good, very, very talented. And then you have these two Paul brothers that you've heard Jake Paul say that he's going to fight Canelo Alvarez. Somebody needs to knock this guy out, so it
Give
just
him Canelo.
ends. What?
Give him Canelo.
It's Canelo, and
well, whatever. Give him both.
He doesn't have a chance against Canelo.
I know he wouldn't get out of the first round.
He wouldn't even get out of 30 seconds. Canelo Alvarez will kill him. Okay, that's how hard he hits. The problem is Jake Paul is 210 pounds. Okay, he walks at 210. He's fighting these guys. Both him and Logan are fighting. Mayweather was 155, 160 pounds when he fought Logan. Logan was like 40 pounds heavier than he was.
Right.
Okay, and then
still lost.
And still lost. And now you have Jake Paul, who Tyrone Woodley walks to. I think his weight. He walks out as 180, 185, somewhere around that. And Jake walks about 205, 210. So it's not that big of a weight difference. But in boxing terms, it's huge. It's huge. He can't fight Canelo Alvarez at, if Canelo walks at 165, he can't fight Canelo Alvarez at 210 because Canelo Alvarez, even at being 50 pounds, 40 pounds heavier, Canelo is going to kill him. So I just think that boxing, this is where boxing is moving to this pathetic, ridiculous term of fighting and combat sports. Now, I understand what it is, what's it all about. It's all about money. It's all about marketing. I was talking to my friend Eric today about the marketing end of fighting and combat sports. We talk about you talk about the MMA world, and you see all these MMA fighters. Tyrone Woodley never made more than I think it was like $450,000 in an MMA fight. This guy was the champion. He was the welterweight champion for the UFC for almost 4 years, 5 years. He was the best fighter in the welterweight division. And he never won more. His purse was never more than $450,000. For the first time in his complete career, he's making over $1 million, $4.5 million in this fight. And that has a lot to do with the Paul brothers because they're YouTube sensations. They're marketing, unbelievable, great marketing guys that understand the sport and the way you have to market. The guys that conquered this, Conor McGregor with his big mouth, Jake Paul with his big mouth, and then obviously Floyd Money Mayweather, another guy that knows how to open his mouth and spread his wealth out there, making $100 million off of fights against the Paul brothers. He went to Asia and fought the biggest kickboxing champion in Asia. He fought him. I think he knocked him out in the first or second round, and the guy was boxing him. I mean, these guys they understand the marketing end of the business. And you can't blame them. You can't take that away from them. They deserve every single penny that they make if they know how to make the money. The problem is it's ruining boxing. It is ruining boxing. Tyrone Woodley says after he knocks out Jake Paul, he's going to move forward in his boxing career. This guy's not even a boxer. He's not even a boxer. He's a wrestler. And that's all I really wanted to say about this. I think it's pathetic. I think that Tyrone Woodley, he's selling this just as much as Jake Paul is. These guys, they know what they're doing. It's just ridiculous. It's pathetic. I am not buying the fight. Anybody that's going to go out there and spend $70 to buy out this fight is an idiot. This card is ridiculous. The last card, you had Chad Ochocinco on it, okay? He's boxing now. What's next? We're going to have Richard Gere fighting? I mean, seriously, who's he going to fight? A mouse? What do they call him? I forget what they call the
Mighty Mouse.
No, I forget what they call them, but not just a mouse. A mole, whatever the hell they call him. Yeah, because God knows he likes moles in his ass. Oh. But who knows who's going to fight next? We'll have Chris Rock against Will Ferrell. I mean, it's ridiculous. But this is what boxing is turning out to be. This is what combat sports is turning out to be, an absolute joke when it comes to professional sports and where sports is moving. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Carl says Jake Paul, Speedy is into RuPaul.
That's probably true. God knows.
No, Snug. I'm not selling my dog. I'm not starting a GoFundMe page for my dog. Jake Paul is a genius and a good enough fighter to keep the public interested.
Who said that?
Snug.
Of course he did.
That's how he go where he is. He's all over the media universe, one of the best I've ever seen. Carl says
he probably is.
Carl says
he's one of them.
Carl says rest in peace, Kimbo Slice.
Absolutely.
Snug says he's the P.T. Barnum of the 21st century. Well, it's not a sanctioned fight; it's a boxing exhibition. We are as interested in the pre-fight hype as the fight itself. What would we pay to see Jake lick Jake's ass? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if my dog is going to be involved with Jake Paul, but okay. I would love to see the beef fight Jake the dog. It's just marketing. My dog is too wimpy to fight. And in the corner, weighing in at 70 pounds, Jake the Ass Bandit, the dog, in his corner, weighing in at 220 pounds from a deli of the beef, aka the Princess of Pickaloaf Eilers.
Eilers, by the way.
Eilers.
Anyways, that's all I want to say about the Jake Paul. I don't care who wins the fight. I hope Tyrone Woodley knocks out Jake Paul. So this whole Paul sensation, because it really doesn't have anything to do with Logan. Logan's going to fight whatever his Paul's going to. If his brother can get him a fight, which is Paul, Jake Paul really pulled that Floyd Mayweather fight for Logan Paul, because I don't think Floyd was going to fight Jake. Jake is the harder puncher. Jake is the better boxer. Logan is not a great boxer. He's a sensational athlete. He's in great shape. On both of them are unbelievable shape. And there are stories coming out of that camp that they're doing steroids. Okay. And being that it's an exhibition bout, it doesn't matter if they're doing steroids because they're not going to be tested for it. So it's not fair and it's dangerous. So Tyrone Woodley could be doing steroids too. So we don't know what's going on when it comes to the fight, and when the fight comes up. The weigh-ins are going to be tomorrow. I'm really not excited about it. I think it's ridiculous, but the card is ridiculous too. And all these cards, you have ex-football players fighting, you have movie stars, rappers fighting. It's just trying to sell and put fannies in the seats and people to buy the pay-per-views. So I'm going to move on. Yes, Carl, I'm moving on.
Carl, I don't know who RuPaul is, so I'm not into it.
You don't want to know.
She's a transvestite.
Not happening, Carl.
It is a transvestite. It.
Again.
But he is a he.
Carl, it is not happening.
He is an it. Anyways, I want to get into football. And, it's so funny. I was talking to Eric today, and we got into so many conversations when it came to sports, and we were talking about the Giants. And he said, and Daniel Jones has not played a preseason game. He hasn't stepped on the field and played a preseason game yet. And he's telling me Daniel Jones is a bust. Daniel Jones, they need to start looking for a quarterback. If Russell Wilson
I would agree with him.
If Russell Wilson becomes available at the end of the season, being that him and Sierra want to come to New York, maybe make a move for a Russell Wilson. Now, being that Gettleman is really putting his career and his life in Daniel Jones's hands after drafting him the way he did. And by the way, he wasn't wrong in that draft. He wasn't.
He wasn't wrong in that draft. He was wrong in the draft before.
He was wrong in a lot of other drafts.
Yeah, but he wasn't wrong with Daniel Jones. He really was. Out of all those quarterbacks that were sitting there, Daniel Jones was the best one.
Right, but Justin Herbert's better than all those other ones too.
Yeah, but Justin Herbert wasn't available. He wasn't in that draft.
He was not in that draft.
He was in the draft after that.
Right. So my whole thing was, would you rather have Josh Allen, the pass rusher, and Justin Herbert, because the Giants would have been awful that next year, because obviously Saquon got anyway. And then you could have drafted Herbert the following year.
Right.
Or you drafted your quarterback and then kind of ended up in the top 5 anyway. And now you took a tackle. And Andrew Thomas isn't great either.
I think when you look at somebody like Daniel Jones, and I think a lot of people take shots at him. A lot of Giant fans hate him and don't want to give him a chance. This is a kid that has shown that he can play in the league. He can make every single throw. He can move inside and out of the pocket. He's very good at running out of the pocket. Very good mobile quarterback. At sometimes he looks like Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, calm down.
He does. He really does. Running and throwing the ball, he does look like Aaron Rodgers. I didn't say he's Aaron Rodgers.
No, I didn't say you said that.
Like Aaron Rodgers sometimes when he moves inside and out of the pocket. The problem with Daniel Jones is the guy can't hold the ball. He drops the ball a lot. He fumbles the ball. And hopefully this year with a new with the same coaching staff, with a second-year coach, maybe he figures out how to keep that ball in his hands. If he does, I think the offensive line is a much better offensive line than they were last year. I really do. I think they solidified certain aspects of their offensive line. Now, everybody keeps saying there's no depth on this Giants offensive line, and probably so. And I would say the same about the Jets. The Jets have no depth on the offensive line. I think the Jets have more depth than the Giants do, But I think all in all, the Giants are built defensively. They really weren't built offensively. That's why they went after Kenny Golladay. That's why Saquon Barkley is a big acquisition, because everybody says, well, Saquon Barkley was on this team. Saquon Barkley hasn't really played for 2 full years. 2 full years.
What?
Saquon Barkley hasn't played on the field. So Saquon Barkley is definitely an add-on to what they have had over the last couple of years. Now, they had, what's his name again, from Clemson, who played very, very well.
Dexter Lawrence.
No, the running back, who they lost to Gallman, who went to San Francisco. And Gallman had a great season. Now, I don't understand why the New York Giants didn't re-sign him. He probably thought
he
didn't get a lot of money.
No, but
Devontae Booker's a solid backup though too.
What happened?
Devontae Booker's a solid backup.
He's not
though,
better
too.
than Golladay.
No, I don't know, but he had a nice year for the Raiders last year too, when Josh Jacobs was really inconsistent.
The fact is are you trying to make excuses for the Giants not making that move and re-signing him?
No, I don't. I think Gallman's a little better, but I don't think.
And I said Golladay. Gallman.
I think Gallman's a little better, but I don't think Booker's a bad backup either, though. I don't think it's a terrible.
And what happens if Saquon Barkley doesn't play for the full season? What happens if Saquon Barkley gets hurt second or third game? We haven't seen him on the field yet, Speedy.
Then his Giant career is over.
I thought his Giant career is over anyways, because if he has a good season this year, the Giants have to move on from him. They have to trade him at the highest point.
No, you don't trade a guy like that.
Are you going to win a Super Bowl in the next 3 years?
You might.
No, they're not winning the Super Bowl in the next 3 years.
But you're not running back away. You're a quarterback away.
You're a lot of
no,
players
there's a
away.
lot more than that.
There are a lot of players
away.
away.
If they can get a good value, it's not the worst thing in the world to explore. Now, don't sell short on it, but it's not the worst thing in the world to explore with his injury history. It's 2 years now.
Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on. Just back up.
Back up what? Spit it out.
Back up.
Spit it out
for a second here.
Because you sit there for 5 seconds.
You just
and don't say
told
anything.
me that Gettleman.
5, 4. You want me to wait every second? Speak. Spit it out.
I'm trying, but if you keep talking, I have to reset my thought process.
Reset what? Saquon Barkley hasn't played for 2 years.
Right.
You
I was
drafted
trying to
him
remember Gettleman's
4
thing.
years ago.
So if Gettleman,
you're going to have to extend his contract after this year. They're going to have to extend him.
Right.
If they extend
You
him,
can do
how
that.
much do you think Saquon Barkley's going to make as a running
you can
back?
franchise him.
You're going to franchise him?
Yeah.
So you're going to pay him $20-something million as a running back?
No,
Yes.
he wouldn't get that much.
Why not?
Like
a top 5 running back, the top 5 running back average is probably in the 15-16 range because McCaffrey has the highest contract.
The salary cap has gone up. CBA has gone up. It'll go up at the end of the
Right,
season.
but somebody actually has to get paid a top 5.
So he's going to make, if he's a top 5 running back, he's going to make about $18-19 million, Speedy.
No, I mean, if they franchise tag him, he's not going to make the number 1 running back. He's going to make a top 5 average value.
Whatever, Speedy. It really doesn't matter. I'm not paying a running back, franchising him for $15-16 million. You got to decide if you're going to keep him or you're going to trade him. Why are you going to hold on to him and franchise him? No, I wouldn't.
I'm keeping him.
I would sell high.
But you're not selling high. You don't know what he's going to bring.
If Saquon Barkley has 1,200 yards and 7 or 8 touchdowns, I'm selling him. I'm trading him.
There's not a team in the league that's going to take him.
Really?
There's not a team in the league.
I
Who
can
needs
name
a
about-
running back?
What are you talking about?
What team needs
The
a running
Rams
back?
need a running back.
The Rams just traded for Sonny Michel yesterday.
You think Sonny Michel is any good?
Sonny Michel is a Super Bowl running back that's won a Super Bowl.
A Super Bowl running back. You think Sonny Michel was the reason why they won a Super Bowl?
Hold on. We just saw Tampa Bay last year win a Super Bowl, right?
Yes.
And they had what?
Sonny Michel has been a bust since he's come into the
I
league.
understand that. But what I'm trying to tell you is you don't need an elite running back. You need a solid running back. Sonny Michel's a solid running back.
By the way, we have Jeff on the phone.
Jeff, what's going on, bud?
I just want to have a good laugh, and that's all I want to do. This is terrific. So you're telling me because the CBA goes up next year,
Yes.
that means the running back salary will go up.
Usually that happens, yes.
That's not how the franchise tag works.
Okay, so how does it
The
work,
franchise-
Jeff?
The
How does it
franchise
work?
tag work is the average of the top 5 salaries. Just because the salary cap could go up, that doesn't mean the top
How
5
much is
salaries
Zeke Elliott
are raised.
making right now?
$15 million a year.
That's what Zeke
And
is making?
he's
I
the-
think he's
and
making
he's the-
16
and
million.
he- And he's what's 15, 16. It's within $1 million, which isn't a big deal, right? So that's highest.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're working down from there. So a top 5 salary is it's the average of the top 5 salaries.
All right,
he
so
would be getting like
all right, so
14 million. And
so
that
you're going to
14
clean up what
million
I said.
doesn't-
All right, you
so-
want to
No, so that 14 million does not go up because the salary cap
Fine.
went up. You don't
Fine, Jeff.
prorate it.
Fine, Jeff. So you're telling me if Saquon Barkley has a good season, which, by the way, he barely played for the last 2 years. If he has a good season, he has 11, 12, maybe even 1,300 yards. He's a top 3 running back in the league. You're not going to move on from him? You're not going to trade him? You're more than 5, 6 players away from being a Super Bowl contender. So Saquon Barkley, who you decided a couple of years ago, what was it, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, to draft him in the draft as the second pick. You do not draft a running back in the top 10. You just don't.
Right. And they could have drafted a running back the draft before, too, in that loaded class, and they didn't.
And they go with Saquon Barkley. The guy's barely played. He had one good season. One good season. And everybody, and I listened, what's his name again? Ian Hartitz said yesterday that Saquon Barkley is the best running back in the league. How could you say he's the best running back in the league when he's barely played in the last 2 years?
Because when every running back is fully healthy and they're all able to do, half of them can't do what Saquon can
Really?
do.
Kamara can't do what he does?
No.
Oh, you're on drugs.
Gives Alvin Kamara the giant offensive line. He gets tackled at the
Alvin
line.
Kamara is one of the best running backs in the NFL.
I understand.
How
that.
about Bradley Chubb? You don't think he can?
Bradley Chubb is a defensive player for the Broncos.
I mean, I'm sorry, Nick Chubb. I'm sorry, Nick Chubb. I'm sorry, I messed the name.
No, I understand.
Nick Chubb. You don't think he is?
Nick Chubb.
How about
I love
Christian
Nick
McCaffrey? How about Christian McCaffrey?
CMC is the only one close to him.
How about Derrick Henry?
No.
What do you mean no?
Derrick Henry's a brute. He's going to run you over. Saquon can run you over or make
How
you miss.
many yards
Derrick
did he
Henry's
run?
not making
How
you
many
miss.
yards did he run last year, Derrick Henry?
Over 2,000.
Almost 2,000. Almost 2,000 yards. And how many? And by the way, how many touchdowns did he have last year?
I would assume.
I will tell you this: Saquon Barkley didn't have anywhere close to what he has had.
Oh, he played what
last year?
20 snaps last year.
I'm not talking about Saquon Barkley last year. I'm talking about right now. Saquon Barkley is not anywhere close to Derrick Henry. Not
As
even
far as
close.
what?
A talent.
Stop.
All-around talent.
You're being
really
disrespectful now.
disrespectful.
Yes.
Derrick Henry's done it for 3 years. Okay?
I understand
3
that.
years straight he's been a top running back in his league.
He has not been a top running back.
Yes, he has.
Christian McCaffrey was the top running back 2 years ago.
I said he's been a top running back in the league,
no,
not the top running back in the league.
Sure. So Saquon Barkley.
No, he hasn't.
Yes, Errol,
1 year. 1 year.
His rookie year.
1 year.
The only year we've seen him healthy, he broke every record a rookie running back could possibly want to break.
1 year.
Why is it that no one else that you mentioned?
So you're going to ride on 1 year for Saquon
No,
Barkley?
I'm going to ride on
Derrick
what I've
Henry
seen
didn't
that
start
man
the whole
healthy.
year, and Nick Chubb didn't start the whole year at their rookie year either.
This is typical Eeyore stuff, though, right? Why are you hating on people for being optimistic about the Giants?
I'm not being.
Such an Eeyore fun.
There it goes, stupid with your stupid Eeyore thing. This has nothing to do with Eeyore.
no,
I'm speaking the truth. I am arguing
no, because
that you're
you
not
want me
going
to
to sit
give-
here. You're
no,
not going to
because
sit
do
here
you
and
want
tell
me
me
to
that
give-
Saquon Barkley,
Do you
Saquon
want
Barkley,
me to
1
give you the
year,
truth?
1 year.
Do you want me to give you the truth? Aren't you the same guy that said? And because Saquon Barkley
Go ahead,
had a
spit it
terrific
out.
year
Spit
when he
it
played
out.
whatever. Aren't you the same guy that was like, "Oh, the Jets' offensive line is so good, they got Mekhi Becton"? Well, he's only been in the league.
Hold on
1
one second.
year, 1
Hold
year.
on. Hold on
But
one
Jets
second,
fans
Jeff.
are
No,
all
I did
pumping him
not.
up, but he's only been there
Jeff, I
1
did
year.
not say the
1
Jets'
year.
offensive line was great. You like taking words out of my mouth. You always do this.
Well,
I have
you actually
never
did,
said.
though, 'cause you were
I
like,
know. No,
Elijah
I said.
Tucker and Mekhi Becton's one of the top guys in the league.
Yes, he was rated right now the sixth best left
Hey,
tackle
so-
in all of
sorry,
football.
Sorry,
Yes,
sorry,
he
can't
is.
do it. It's only 1 year. Sorry, can't do
1
it. It's
year.
only 1 year.
That's fine. That's what they rated him. Saquon Barkley, let's be honest. He's played 1 full season in 4 years.
It was-
4
and it was one of
years.
No, first of all, it's been 3 years.
How many?
This will be
When was
his
he
fourth
drafted?
year.
When was he drafted?
Right,
2018.
this would be his 4th year.
All right, so this is his 4th year. So out of the 3 years he's been
So
in
it
the
hasn't
league,
been 4 years.
3
It's
years.
3 years.
Fine, Jeff. Fine. I'm not looking at the computer and looking at his whole career. I've seen his first year, and in the last 2 years, he's barely played. And you're going to
Just
tell
let
me.
Giants fans be optimistic, man. Stop hating on fun.
So wait, hold on just a second here. So
Jeff,
his
who's
rookie
better
year-
right now, Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley?
That's not fair.
Well, Derrick Henry is the most dominant running back in the league, sure.
That's not fair, though. You're taking a guy that's been healthy his whole career over a guy that's coming off a major knee injury.
Right, well, and that's a fair point too. But Tyler, you can't deny that Derrick Henry is the
No,
best
I'm not
running back
denying
in the league,
anything. Derrick Henry is definitely a top 5 running back in the league. I'm not saying he's
Top
not.
3.
I don't know.
I'd be hard to. I mean, it depends on what you're looking for, right? If you need 1 yard, you're giving the ball to Derrick Henry, and it doesn't even matter. But if you need to go 99 yards, you're probably giving it to Christian McCaffrey.
Right. So I just want to bring up his second year. where he played 13 games, still had over 1,000 yards. He is about, he's exactly 537 yards behind Derrick Henry, and he had 2 less games.
Speedy, read what everybody's writing, so everybody gets an opportunity.
Doug says Daniel Jones still has upside. He's not a flop, just not a star. Carl says Jones looks like Rodgers when getting tackled by the turf monster. Josh says Michelle won a Super Bowl. Doesn't mean he's a Super Bowl running back. He was a nice piece on an excellent team. This is sounding like Snug says this is sounding like an ER moment on Barkley. Josh says lately not a lot of top running backs have won Super Bowls. Carl says, why does Derrick Henry have to make anyone miss? Derrick Henry is an absolute beast and has remained healthy. Snug says seems Eeyore-ish. The guy had a great year when he was healthy. Give him a chance now.
1 year out of 3 years.
2 years out of 3 years.
3 years.
This
is his 4th year.
Right. This will be his 4th.
Yes.
He led the league in scrimmage yards his rookie year. His second year, he had over 1,000 yards, missed 3 games. What else do you want from the guy?
What else do I want from a guy?
Give Derrick Henry that offensive line. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, so you're telling me Derrick Henry can run behind that offensive line?
No, I'm telling you that he wouldn't have 1,500 yards or 2,000 yards.
I feel like we got a Barry Sanders, Ezekiel Elliott moment.
No, not at all. But what I am trying to tell you is that Titans line for the past few years has been one of the top ones in the league.
Josh also says all the top running backs in the league haven't won a title. You can win with an average back. Henry, Cook, McCaffrey, Barkley, Kamara, Zeke. Trade value at its highest. I trade Barkley if he has a great year. Never pay a running back.
Speedy, who's the best player on the Giants right now?
Who is the best?
Who's the best player on the Giants right now? If Saquon Barkley, if Barkley is healthy, who's the best player on the Giants?
Kadarius Toney.
Oh God. It's probably either him or Bradbury, I would say.
So who's the best player on the Giants if Barkley's healthy?
100% Saquon?
100%.
Saquon.
So your best player is a running back. Now,
the Titans' best player is a running back.
Really?
The Panthers' best player is a running back.
Hold on 1 second. Right. So the Titans' best player is a running back?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what about Brown? What about A.J. Brown, who's one of the best wide receivers in the league?
You think A.J. Brown's getting open if they're not committing 8 in the box to Derrick Henry?
A.J. Brown's a pretty beastly wide receiver.
And by the way, he's not even the best receiver they have now.
Really? Who is it?
Julio.
Julio Jones can't stay healthy.
Not anymore.
And
Julio Jones is better than
A.J. Brown is a better wide receiver than Julio Jones now.
Right
now. He is.
Julio's
better.
Listen,
I think you're arguing kind of two different things because Julio over his career, Julio is
he's a better.
I think from now going forward, I actually think A.J. Brown might be better.
Oh, he is.
A.J. Brown will be the
he had 1,400 yards last year.
That's fun. Julio Jones is the number one.
He was a top 3 wide receiver.
You're nuts if you think Matt Vrabel
Julio's got to prove he's healthy.
That's fine. So does Saquon. But all I'm saying is you think Vrabel and the huddle's going, let's look at A.J. Brown or let's look at Julio for a big play.
What are you talking
about?
Julio.
They're going to move him around regardless because they're both capable. Obviously, Julio Jones not as much anymore, but Julio still could get number 1 corner attention, and they're going to switch it around based on the game plan too. I'm not saying Julio is far behind AJ Brown, but AJ Brown had a phenomenal last 2 years, so he's the number 1.
Absolutely has.
How many teams?
Why don't we wait 6 weeks or 8 weeks before? Let's see what he's doing.
Listen, we're not shitting on anybody. All I'm talking about is first of all, I'm debating about a certain position, and you're bringing it up like I'm being an Eeyore. I don't care what you say, Jeff. If you got nothing good to say, then don't call the show. That's all I'm saying. You're not bothering me. I'm not killing on anything. I'm talking facts right now. When you talk about Saquon Barkley, and Giant fans love the guy, and I don't blame him. He's a great player. I met him and his father a couple of weeks before he was drafted. They're nice dudes.
You've met everybody.
No, I met those 2 guys, and I interviewed both of them, and they're 2 very nice guys. They really are. His father's fucking hilarious. Okay, awesome.
His quad's the size of your head.
First of all, his father's quads are pretty damn big too. Okay, so just so you know, and both of them grew up Jet fans. I mean, his father and Saquon are Jet fans, no question. But I'm going to tell you this right now: if Saquon Barkley has a great season this year, I am trading him. You're not winning a Super Bowl anytime soon. You're not like the Giants.
But you don't know that.
They're not ready to win.
The last 2 Giants Super Bowls, they weren't supposed to win either.
Oh, really?
They were favorites to win the
NFC.
NFC.
Great pass rush.
So what?
What?
This defense is pretty damn good now.
They need edge rushers, though.
They don't have any edge rushers.
Leonard Williams wasn't a top pass rusher last year?
Power rusher. They need edge rushers.
What are you talking about?
He was a DT.
I understand, but he's a pass rusher too.
Yeah,
they
but
literally
they
traded
need
for him to
speed
get a pass
rushers.
rusher.
They need speed rushers too, though.
All I'm trying to tell you is this Giant
They're
team,
not ready to
every
win.
year the Giants aren't ready to win. They go off and get a serious playoff run. I'm not
It's
saying they're
also
Super
the
Bowl
NFC
contenders.
East, they could be a playoff team. That division stinks.
Absolutely. But when they get into the playoffs, who are they going to beat?
It doesn't matter. When the Giants get in the playoffs, they're a threat to somebody.
It doesn't matter. I'm going by Bee's logic. Let the NFC East win and make the play. You watch the Cowboys make the playoffs.
This isn't
I
the
don't know. Maybe
Beeve
the Giants
logic.
beat somebody.
This isn't Beeve logic. This is stupidity logic. The Giants are not ready to win. They're more than 5-6 players away from being a contender. Yes, they're in the NFC East. There's no question that they are. But to say in any kind of argument, if Saquon Barkley has a good season, you don't move on from him. You don't try to trade him and get something back for him.
Listen, man. I hate to be the guy that does it, right? But honestly, any given Sunday, because who won the Super Bowl last year? The Buccaneers. They almost lost in the first round to the Washington football team. The
No
Washington
question
football
that they
team
did.
almost beat them.
No question that they did.
Sunday, it could happen. So if the Giants make the playoffs, they could beat some people.
I'm not going to sit here.
Even the Jets have won a playoff game before.
Listen, Jeff, I'm not going to sit here right now and when you look at the Giants and you look at all the teams and you say, hey, my best player is a running back. Tennessee is not winning a Super Bowl either if Derrick Henry's their
Why
best
not?
player.
They're going to have the easiest path.
Their best player
They're not winning.
is nicknamed the human joystick.
I know you like him, and you love when they drafted him, Tony. And he could be a great player. He might not be, but again, that's not even my argument. And going back to Daniel Jones, Daniel Jones has to play well. If Daniel Jones doesn't play well, how do they expect to even make the playoffs?
His nickname is.
But this is what I was trying to tell you before.
Danny Dimes.
But this is what I was trying to tell you before you won the Saquon thing. You said Dave Gettleman's career is on Daniel Jones. Dave Gettleman does not have a large loophole to play with here. He's got to do something this year or he's out.
Yeah, and so is Daniel Jones.
We know.
Right, that's what I'm trying to say. They're a quarterback away.
So
no.
They are.
When you
hold
lose,
on, stop. If you tell me right now, if they get just swap literally Daniel Jones and Russell Wilson, right? They'll take more in a trade.
That's a
I'm not
dream.
saying that.
That's a
Hold
dream.
on. I'm not saying that's the trade.
That's
I'm
a
just
dream.
saying if you swap them around, you don't think that Giant team becomes an immediate playoff contender?
They're a playoff
the
contender.
NFC East,
They're a playoff contender.
All right,
that
then.
doesn't mean they're going to win a Super Bowl.
Team.
That doesn't mean they're going to win a Super Bowl.
Do you put anyone competent in the NFC East? That's the division winner. Anyone competent?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You get into the playoffs, the NFC is loaded, and you're going to probably be
about a
knocked
division
out.
filled with shitbirds. Like they all stink.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Snug says Derrick
That's all I'm trying to say.
Derrick Henry and I enjoy driving monster trucks over cars for fun and profit. The fans love it. Carl says, or Henry on 99 yards. Remember when he did that on Monday night? He also did it on Thursday night too.
It was like the same run.
Yeah,
it's always against the Jaguars too.
Right.
Poor Myles Jack.
Josh says,
save Myles Jack.
Josh says, Tyler, come on, man. And CJ says, Errol Marks.
Come on, man. What?
Tell Jeff that Kevin Jackson thinks he's epic.
Come on, man. What? I'm confused here. You have a top
Kevin
offensive weapon
Jackson's
in the league.
unbelievable.
You don't just move on from him for no reason at all.
What do you
Because
mean
don't
move
wanna pay
on?
him.
Listen, it's not about paying him. That's what you're not understanding.
You literally said, why would you pay him?
You're not winning. So when you have a good player of that magnitude, you trade him to a team that could use a running back.
Who
that can
needs
help
a running back?
There are a load of teams looking
Who?
for a running back.
Just give me one.
Do you want me to go through the rosters?
Just give me one.
I'm gonna go right
give
through
me
the
a
NFL
team.
roster. I'm gonna go right now. Miami always looking for a top end.
All
running
right,
back.
so Miami, right?
Okay.
Why would they not just draft one?
Why? Because it's Saquon Barkley. You just heard it. Saquon Barkley's so great.
So
And you
what,
just
if you're
said
the
it.
Giants, what do you want from the Dolphins?
Let's
a
see.
mid-draft pick?
The Seahawks always looking for a top running
Russell
back.
Wilson.
The Rams don't have a top running back.
The Rams are not.
The 49ers, who's their top running back?
Raheem Mostert.
Mostert's nice.
And they just drafted
Mostert
one
is
too.
nice.
The 49ers will be fine.
Mostert's like the fastest guy in the league.
And they got Jeff Wilson, who's like the super third guy. Jeff Wilson is awesome.
All right.
Isn't he out for the year though?
All right, Speed,
And
put
Kyle,
on the
you
other
check.
line. We got another line. So we got Anthony Andarosi. What's going on, Ant?
You guys are killing me right now. I mean, honestly, you actually brought me to the point where I'm actually agreeing with Jeff.
Let's go, Sensei.
Okay.
Let's go.
In all honesty, first off, you're turning around saying you're removing Saquon if he has a good year. So if he has a bad year, you're getting rid of him too. And
No,
then
I didn't say that. You're not going to be able to get anything for him. You're not going to get anything from Saquon Barkley if he has a bad year.
Hold on a second. Let me finish one. Let me ask you one more question. So, like you said, you're going to take him and send him to a team or make a deal to send him to a team that needs a running back. Well, if you lose Saquon, aren't one of the teams that are going to need a running back be the Giants?
Beautifully done.
Well, hold on one second. Hold on.
Verbal jujitsu.
First of all, you should be cleaning up the spit that you spit on the ground.
I should be, but I was waiting for
that's one
And what is it with you guys? Is it like 100 degrees over there? I've never seen you guys drink so much goddamn water in my entire life.
Oh, it's because we're in a studio. We're in a studio that's completely soundproof, so it gets hot in here. There's no air conditioning. It does get hot in here. It always does.
It's hot. It's hot. He's fat, and he looks like Grimace.
So
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Mr. Repeats is back. Okay.
Hold on 1 second. So my answer to you, Anthony, is when we look at Saquon Barkley, and I'm not taking shots at Saquon Barkley and thinking that Saquon Barkley isn't a great player. He is a great player. The problem is Saquon Barkley is how old after this year?
24.
No, he's older than that.
25.
He's going to be 26 years old. Now, a running back, an average running back, how long do they last in the NFL?
Average, probably like 3 years.
Hell, the average lifespan of a freaking football player, from what they say, is what, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
No, I think it's less than that. I think it's like 2 years and like 8 months.
So what that means is after having a huge injury like that, an ACL, MCL injury like that, usually a running back Saquon Barkley probably has maybe 2-3 good years left in the NFL. Okay. So when you're looking at that, are the Giants 2-3 years away? Honestly, Anthony, you're a Giant fan. Are they 2-3 years away from winning a Super Bowl? Honestly.
Unfortunately, and this is the easiest way I could answer the question. It's not a yes or no answer. It really isn't.
Okay.
Because when you look at the season last year, and this is not taking shots at anybody, and even Jeff said, Tampa Bay came close to losing that the first playoff game and such, et cetera, and everything. It seems like now it's not just about the best player on the team. It's got to go with scheme, and it goes with the chemistry of the whole damn team. It really does nowadays. Because as you said, is Derrick Henry the best team player on the Titans? A lot of people would say yes, but then the argument is A.J. Brown. Well, A.J. Brown's only as strong as the quarterback that's going to get him the damn ball in that particular window. And we all know that. Jerry Rice probably wouldn't be the greatest of all time if he had, freaking Nick Foles throwing to him opposed to Joe Montana or Steve Young. So a lot of times it's scheme, it's just chemistry and just the right moment. Because even if you look down, and this is going to turn into a Giants thing, but you look at the Giants' results, a lot of the games that they lost came within 2-3 points, including that Tampa Bay game. They lost by what? 2 points?
They lost by 2, and Errol thought that they got screwed that game.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And what happened? And people could say, oh, well, Tampa Bay wasn't ready to win or anything like that, which the idea of being ready to win, you know what I mean?
They might have been playing down on them, too.
It's any,
not for nothing. Here's the other thing, because I like where Anthony's going with this. But the other piece to this.
Hold on one second, Anthony. Hold on one second. Go ahead, Jeff.
I like where Anthony's going with this, but the other piece of the puzzle to this whole thing is the Giants' defense is already good. How much better can they get when the offense is helping them and not going 3 and out every possession? They'll probably be a better team if they get a little offensive production and allow the defense a breather.
Special teams is solid. You have a good coach. I don't know what else the Giants.
Go ahead, Anthony. Finish up what you were saying.
Yeah, it's and honestly, I think as Jeff said, because it was kind of hard to hear. I guess with the 2 phone calls going at the same time.
You can't hear each other because it's 2 different lines. But
even if you say, like, you know what I mean,
you're gonna have to put on your whatever you're listening to the show on. You're gonna have to.
I didn't want to echo. I didn't want to.
It's fine. It's fine. You good. You good.
The biggest thing was when you say you're so many players away and such and all that. If you lose Barkley, you lose Dimes and this and that. Really, over the course of this many years are going in the future, and the picks that they have in the future, really, what the hell are you going to get? Let's be real. The next quarterback draft sucks. I don't care what anybody says.
Well,
it's not as good as the last few. What? How? This guy, that guy. If people want to really lie to themselves and say that these guys in the next couple of drafts are that great as a quarterback draft, you're really trying to make something out of nothing, because they're really not as good as everybody thinks they are. They're not franchise quarterbacks. They're really not. the next couple of drafts when it comes to quarterbacks is really not that good at all.
Snug says, LOL, I heard Alabama would be a contender in the NFC East from a reliable source.
Speedy, spit it out. Don't giggle. You can giggle after.
He also says the Jets would win the AFC East. Josh was referencing his point. He said it was in reference to the Derrick Henry offensive line point. Snug says, why am I waiting for this guy to say, I like to kill deer, and then sound exactly like the text notification running around the net a few years ago? Josh says, LMFAO. Snug says, none of them wear pants in studio. Shh. Somebody Worldwide Sports Radio Network, one of our network guys says, how's it hanging, Errol? Chicago's favorite son has returned. Ben with a puke emoji. Alex Slows in the comments saying, how's it hanging, Errol? Snug says, I'd imagine there's a lot of strange smells in there. Show Slows is here. By the way, I told my girlfriend what a fudge packer was, and she laughed. And then
it's Tyler.
And then Carl says,
Hold on. So I have a buddy in Florida, right?
Are you a fudge packer? Is he a fudge packer?
So what I'm trying to say is, I may have heard that Jeff likes to dine in the fudge packing business.
Does he really? Jeff?
Yeah.
Jeff, do you like fudge packing?
No worries, bud. I eat ass. It's ass eating season all the time in Florida.
I mean, buddy, you got to get it somehow. I understand. It's okay. Good for you.
Anyways, go ahead. Go ahead.
Carl says, if the Bears have a better year than expected, I could see them going after Barkley, especially when the Bears are moving on from Robinson next year. Montgomery did have a good year, though, Carl.
The Bears are not trading for Saquon.
Montgomery had a good year, Carl. I don't know about that. Sluck says, told or showed to Alex. And then Carl says, Chicago's favorite son, you rang.
Chicago.
No one's trading for Saquon Barkley because the Giants aren't going to make him available. You don't make players like that available. It's why the Panthers,
talent.
It's why the Panthers didn't make McCaffrey available when he got hurt, because he's such a talent. You want that talent back. You risk it and take the chance that he's going to get back to form rather than give him to someone else, watch him be great, and then go, oh, we should have kept him.
You trade him out of the division. We've seen this. Deshaun Watson. Nobody thought he was going to become. All right. Why is Deshaun Watson on the trade block?
Deshaun Watson said he wants out of Houston. That's totally different.
That's fine. What do you mean?
Saquon never said, I don't want to be a Giant.
You control his contract. You could trade him. There's no trade clause. You could trade him whenever you want.
Hello. When Deshaun Watson said, I don't want to be in Houston, it dropped all of his leverage. He shot himself in the foot.
Okay, so
and who's calling about Watson right now?
What do you mean? Who's calling?
Who's calling him? Who?
There are a bunch of teams that are calling.
There was 3 we named.
Yeah, 3? There's probably a lot more than that.
No,
Tyler.
The Eagles were rumored.
Tyler,
the Broncos were rumored. That's it.
Tyler, there are a bunch
this
of
guy
teams.
right now.
You don't think Minnesota? You don't think Minnesota reached out to them?
They should.
You
but
don't think
he's dynamite right now.
How about San Francisco before they made that trade? Before they made a trade, yes, they did.
No way.
Yes, they did.
No way in hell.
Yes,
you don't draft a quarterback that's 20 years old.
Are you listening? Are you listening to me?
I try not to listen to you as much as possible.
Maybe it's your bald head, or maybe something's not flying.
No, because I have less hair. I hear you perfectly fine.
So take this in your head. Take this in your head. I said before the trade that they made in the draft. Did you not hear me say that? No. They were interested in Deshaun Watson.
I'm sure they were. But you think so? Here, hold on. Let me hear you out here. So
almost every team in the league should be interested in Deshaun Watson.
Absolutely.
Right. There's 2 teams that shouldn't be. The Buccaneers and the Packers and the Chiefs. Those are the only 3. Only 3.
Buffalo, maybe too.
Not the Cowboys. Dak Prescott's so good. The Cowboys wouldn't want Deshaun
The
Watson.
fact is, and this is, I'm not going to take a shot and I'm going to go after Saquon Barkley. All I'm saying in what I see, when you look at a running back, somebody like Saquon Barkley who's about 26 years old at the end of the season, you have maybe 2-3 good years left to Saquon Barkley. And if he gets hurt again, he's done. Okay. And at his highest point, if he has a good season, if I was a GM, I'm moving on from him. I'm trying to get as much back from a man. That's what I'm trying to do.
Do you miss Jamal Adams?
No, I don't.
You're full garbage.
Why? They got 2 first round. No, I don't. They got 2 first round.
No, I'm not saying he's lying. I'm saying that's garbage.
Listen, it's not garbage because
Jamal Adams is the best player on that team.
Really?
If he got plucked in there right now, he'd be the best.
Do you know that Marcus May was rated higher than Jamal Adams going into the season?
Jamal Adams is hurt.
No. I'm talking about this year. When they looked at the safety ratings, they rated Marcus May higher than
this year.
Jamal Adams going into the year.
Right.
Going into the year. Yes.
Going into this year.
Yes.
You mean after Jamal Adams was hurt all last season?
Are you not? How is he
in
hurt?
a brand new defense?
He
was snagged all season long.
Really? That's why he was an all-pro player.
Right.
That was
right. He still missed games due to injury, and he was banged up all year.
Marcus May, if you look at Marcus May's number, he had just as good a season as Jamal Adams.
What I'm trying to tell you is we just saw the NFL 100 rankings. Is Marcus May on there?
What happened?
Is Marcus May on the NFL players 100 list?
What do you? I don't know. I didn't watch it. I don't know.
He's not.
Okay, good.
Jamal Adams is top 30.
That's the NFL Network.
That's fine.
That's the NFL
Jamal
Network.
Adams is top 30.
Okay. Okay.
Marcus May wasn't on the list.
That has nothing to do with the argument and the conversation.
All I'm saying is Jamal Adams shouldn't have been traded. The Jets should have signed him long term.
They got 2 first-round draft picks for Jamal Adams.
I understand that. The Giants are not getting 2 first-round picks for Saquon Barkley. You keep him.
I wouldn't argue with you on
okay,
that.
then. So you keep him.
Okay, so you're going to keep a running back that you're never going to win with.
You don't know if they're not going to win with him.
Wait, guys. But here's the thing. All right, even let's say Barkley has a good year, and God willing, hopefully he does. Considering I'm a Giants fan, there's something to say if he has a good year. You know what I mean? Just like if the Giants make a playoffs and such, there's a chance that even in free agency, you know what I mean? A guy like Saquon, if he has a really good year and he copies the rookie year that he had, 3 years ago or whatnot, and he has those numbers, possibly a little bit better now that we have the extra game. There's a chance that even in free agency, that might attract other free agencies that might want to come and play with them. We see it in the NBA all the time. You saw it with Tampa Bay. How many guys in Tampa Bay are in Tampa Bay right now?
Because they want to play with Billy Goat Brady? A ton.
Exactly what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Talent will attract talent. So for that reason, and I understand what you're saying, Earl. I understand what you're saying. Get something for him, get more assets in return, picks and all that stuff. I understand what you're saying. You know what I mean? Do I agree with it? Hell no, I don't agree with it as a Giant fan. But that's fine. At the same time, keep him. You know what I mean? It'll attract people. It'll attract more talent. And honestly, sometimes you'll see guys for the chance of being on a winner take one of those discount rates. And it will. You know what I mean? Because let's be real, you're going to have to pay him. There's no way you're going to do the franchise tag and stuff like that with Barkley. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong, but it's not going to happen. They're going to end up giving him a contract. He plays all 17 games. He's healthy. They're going to give him a contract. They're not going to get rid of him because ultimately, if they're keeping Gettleman, Danny Dimes has a decent year. They keep Dimes. They keep Gettleman. They're sure as hell not going to get rid of Barkley because then once again, it's going to be like they're getting rid of a mistake. And then one thing we all know about the Giants, and unfortunately I've known it for a long time being a Giant fan, they'll friggin' live and die by the sword, even if it means holding on to a mistake in the draft. And that's the god-awful truth of it and that we've all dealt with. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I understand what you're saying. There's no way Barkley's going anywhere. Only way Barkley's going someplace is if he is really that injured, or if he gets injured again, where you just have to cut.
Are you going to trust that Saquon Barkley is going to stay fully healthy, being that he's a power back, and that's what he is. He can run on the outside. I know what you're making faces. He's not Alvin Kamara. He's not. He's Barry
Sanders.
He's not Barry.
He's the closest.
Hold on.
I already hear him making a beef remark.
Hold on.
He is the closest running back style to Barry Sanders we've ever seen.
He's not even close. He's not even
That's
close.
what Danian Tomlin said.
He's not even close. Yes, he is.
I'm curious to see how Alvin Kamara does.
Their offensive line's still great. Their offensive line is still great. They have a very good offensive line. Alvin Kamara is going to have a sensational season. I wouldn't be surprised if he leads all running backs in yards per run and yards per catch. He is that good of a player. And I think a lot of people forget how good Alvin Kamara was when Drew Brees wasn't even in the lineup. Last year, he missed practically the whole season. Go look at Alvin Kamara's numbers. Go look at him.
They had to pass they had to run the ball. They had nobody that would pass
exactly, and you're going to be doing it again this year. He's going
Kamara's
to be doing it again.
Get a lot of catches too.
Yeah,
Thomas is traded too.
Jameis Winston's going to be throwing the ball a ton.
What were you saying?
They named Jameis Winston number 1.
Yeah, Jameis Winston.
It looks that way. He played very well against the Jaguars in the second preseason game. It looks that way.
And they paid Hill
a lot
of money.
The preseason games are jokes.
Well, we know that.
Preseason games are absolutely jokes. That's why if anybody's taking any stock in them, they're insane.
No, I'm not saying I trust Jameis Winston. I'm just saying that likely will be the starting quarterback.
No. I understand what you're saying. Just like when people talking about Gardner Minshew outplaying what's his name? Lawrence.
Yeah.
Which honestly, the fact that Lawrence was even playing that much is insane, and it shows that Urban Meyer deserves to get the hell out of here.
I don't trust him.
If you want to know if you want to ask my honest opinion, I would start Minshew this season over Lawrence. And I'm going to tell you why. The offensive line.
I'm not disagreeing with that. He's going to get him killed.
He's going to die. He's going to get killed. And you might as well get your backup quarterback killed and try to build through. Maybe you get lucky, you get a trade sometime in the middle of the season, or maybe somebody gets let go this year in the next couple of weeks before the season starts, and you bring back some guy in, an offensive lineman. There were a couple of really good offensive linemen in free agency this year. They spent money. They spent a lot of money on garbage this offseason.
Unfortunately, we've had the discussion about Trevor Lawrence before, and like I told you, I don't think he's not winning Rookie of the Year or any of these things that people are talking about. Unfortunately, that poor bastard, if anybody knows, I mean, maybe it's because I'm just older than everybody else on this damn phone call, but if anybody remembers the rookie year that David Carr had with Houston, how many times did he get sacked that year?
Like
167?
I think it was hit 167. I think he was sacked 60.
I don't know.
And by the way, hold on, Anthony. And by the way, and I'm going to go back into this. How could you ever compare Barry Sanders? I mean, Saquon Barkley to Barry Sanders. They're not even the same realm of running back.
You're
not
talking
even
about
close.
career accomplishments. You're talking about
what
career
has Saquon Barkley done except for 1 year? What has
only
he
led
done?
the league in yards from scrimmage?
Oh my God! Derrick Henry did that last year.
When's the last Jet
Derrick
to do
Henry did that. What are you talking about? Curtis Martin.
Okay.
Curtis Martin.
That was how long ago?
It doesn't matter. Curtis Martin.
I understand.
Hall of Famer. One of the
get
greatest running backs of all time.
I understand. I completely understand. My point to you is let's understand that Saquon Barkley is not just doing things that everybody can just get up and go do.
You're comparing Saquon Barkley
I did not.
to
I said
the
he
greatest
running back of all time
that ever played the game.
Barry Sanders is the greatest running back of all time. Saquon Barkley is not top 10. He's not top 20. I get all that. What I'm trying to tell you is he's made cuts that I've only seen Barry Sanders make other than him.
Oh, so he's
that's the only buddy I've ever seen.
Oh, so Saquon Barkley is the only person that's ever looked at like Barry Sanders-esque. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
You're on drugs.
No, I mean, that has nothing to do with
You're on drugs.
That has nothing
You're
to do
on
with
drugs.
That has nothing to
Did
do
you
with
ever watch Curtis Martin play?
Curtis Martin.
Did you ever watch Curtis Martin play?
Yes, Errol.
How
we
old
live
were
in
you?
New York.
How old were you when you saw him play at the top of his game?
I'd venture to say anywhere between 10 to 14.
10 to 14.
Depending
And
on what you consider
So
as
you
peak.
remember. Now, I was almost 20 years old when I was watching Curtis Martin play at the top of his game.
Sure.
Okay? And I'm telling you
Are you
right
telling
now,
me Curtis Martin's better than Saquon?
I'm going to tell
Talent-wise?
you, I'm telling you right now, he's not far from what you think Saquon Barkley is. Absolutely. Curtis Martin's one of the top 7 running backs of all time.
That's not true.
Not true.
That's not
Not
true.
true, huh?
Not true.
Not true? Do you want me to bring up his numbers?
I can
Do you
name
want me to
7.
bring up his numbers?
He's not even top 5 from
I didn't say he was top 5.
the
I said he's
time
top
he
7.
retired. He's not top 7 from the time he retired.
Speedy,
till
bring up Curtis Martin's
all
numbers.
time.
All right.
Bring his numbers.
While I do that, Kamara's numbers that you were looking for last year: 932 yards, 16 touchdowns rushing, and then 756 and 5 touchdowns receiving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was like over 1,600 yards, something like that. Yeah.
All right. Curtis Martin, his
I'm
career.
a Saints fan. I know what Alvin Kamara did last year.
He had 14,101 yards rushing and 90 touchdowns in 11 seasons.
10 and a half seasons.
Okay, 10 and a half seasons.
10 and a half seasons.
And then receiving, he
Very
had
good.
How many 1,000-yard seasons did he have in a row, Speedy?
10.
10. You know how many players have done that?
I'm going to say he's probably one of, 3, 4?
2. Do you know who the other player did that?
Jim
I'm going
Brown.
to guess Barry Sanders.
Brown.
Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders.
Isn't it
Okay?
sad I know what he's gonna
Barry
say before he says
Sanders is the only running back besides Curtis. Well, Curtis Martin is the second running back to do that behind Barry Sanders.
it. Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So you think Saquon Barkley is going to have 10 straight seasons with 1,000 yards or more?
I mean, probably not
No,
due to his injuries.
no.
But here's
Not
the
even
thing.
close. Not even close.
I really wish you would just open your mind a little bit.
I'm open.
And acknowledge
I watched
that
Saquon.
Barkley
Saquon's great.
is a
He's not the best running
freak.
back in the league. He's not. He's not.
You can't call him the best running back in the league because he
He's
hasn't
not.
played in that amount of time.
Even if he played, he's not.
I understand what you're trying to say, but the bottom line is, regardless of what jersey that man wears, if he's fully healthy and he can do whatever he could do before this injury, he's talent-wise, the best running back in the league,
It's
not close.
Anthony, are you listening to this? How could you say that? It doesn't make sense.
Because he was healthy for 1 year
ridiculous.
with the worst offensive line in football, and he led the league in yards from scrimmage as a rookie. Do you not understand how hard that is to do?
Oh, my God. Oh, my
He's
God.
basically saying his potential.
His potential?
Everyone sees that but you.
Everybody sees it? Alvin, first of all, everybody that watches football, Cook is the running back from Minnesota.
Dalvin Cook is very good.
Very good. He's better than Saquon Barkley. He's better than Saquon Barkley.
Who they also could have drafted in 2017.
He is better than Saquon
Jerry
Barkley.
Reese.
He absolutely is. Alvin Kamara is better than Saquon Barkley.
Who also they could have drafted in 2017.
Absolutely is. I mean, I can name a bunch of running backs right now. I would take over Saquon Barkley. You're going to tell me
Because
Christian
he hasn't
McCaffrey
played in a year and a half.
I'm asking you a question. Christian McCaffrey, you've seen him 2 years. The last 2 years. Do you think Saquon Barkley?
You mean another guy that's coming off a pretty bad injury too?
Bad injury, but look what he's done. Inconsistency.
But he was never injury prone.
He's a consistent player.
This was first.
Wait just a second here. So out of 2 of 3 years, the guy rushed for over 1,000 yards. And now you're saying he's not consistent.
No.
He missed one season.
Saquon Barkley, listen,
that's the only year
he's going to be. If Saquon Barkley plays another 4 years, 3 years, you're going to remember that he's an injury-prone player. That's what he is. That's what he is.
Rushes for 1,000 yards.
Great. Every running back does in the league.
Stat you care about.
How many running backs ran 1,000 yards last year?
Probably 11 or 12.
12 running backs out of 30, 31, 32 teams.
Right. Okay.
That's a lot.
That's
a
great.
lot.
That explains why you can't trade him.
Does that make him an elite running back?
Does that not mean that's why you can't trade him?
Oh my God. Listen, all I'm saying is if you believe that you're more than one player away from
you're a
winning,
quarterback away.
They're more than that.
They're
more than that.
They need a
Speedy,
lot.
you are a Giant fan and you're a statistic person. How many players away do you think the Giants are?
Go ahead, answer this question.
And let's go on from this because
12 or 13, I would say.
12 or 13. Okay.
13.
So,
Right, I don't know what you're talking about.
Anthony, you're a Giant fan. How many players away do you think the Giants are? Honestly.
I honestly don't think it's 13. I don't think it's as much as
All
13.
right, so give us a number.
Because 5.
I think 5 or 6. That's a lot.
That's not a lot.
Here's the thing.
That's not a lot at all.
Look at the positions that they're missing.
What are they missing? You tell me.
How hard
You're
is it?
the NFL guru. You tell me for a change.
All right, go ahead, Anthony.
First off, one thing, okay? Now, here's one thing where it comes into play, just in terms of knowing schemes and stuff. You can't really talk about, they need an edge rusher and all that. They have a 3-4 defense, which is totally different than the defenses that have won the last 2 Super Bowls where you have a 4-man line. Now you're basically depending on your outside linebackers to be, as you would call it, your edge.
What are you kissing to the
your
air?
outside
Because this is what I've been trying to say for 20 freaking minutes.
Oh my God, you are retarded. There's something wrong with you.
I said they don't have an edge rusher.
They have more than not just an edge rusher.
They need more than that.
They need more than that.
Here's the thing. It's not just the responsibility of Leonard Williams on a 3-man line. You need your pressure from your outside linebackers. That's the thing when it comes to containing in regards to the rush. That's the difference between the 3-man line and the 4-man line. 4-man line, it's totally different because your outside rushers are what contains everything.
Remember the name Lorenzo Carter.
Oh, so that we're gonna bring. You know what it is?
Remember that name. Lorenzo Carter's gonna have a.
You know what it is, Anthony? I think you're a true fan, but you're an honest fan. Tyler says he
said 5.
He says he's a Saint fan, but he's a diehard Giant fan who sits here and bullshits you on this show.
Time out. It's a quarterback-driven league. The offensive line is okay. The coach is good. Special teams is good. And the defense was top 10 last year.
Tyler,
what the hell are you talking about?
You win by the trenches, do you not? Defense and the offensive line.
I understand that.
Offensive line.
I
understand that. Are the Giants up to par defensively in the
They
front
were
seven?
top 10 last year.
They have
That's
no pass
top-notch.
rushers on the outside.
I'm nuts. They were top 10 last year.
I'm nuts.
They were top 10 last year.
Giants' defense's strength is their defensive backs. That's why they figure if they shut down the pass, if they hold the passing down and they hold the coverage, it gives the front more time to come in. That's the unfortunate thing. It's totally different. It's like a backwards defense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's the whole thing. You're depending on nobody getting open to give your guys enough time to outlast the offensive line, and eventually you get to the quarterback. hopefully this year with the steal that they had with that kid out of Georgia.
Yeah, I like him.
Azeez Ojulari.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, and thankfully you haven't seen him that much, because knowing the Giants, he would have gotten injured and had pulled a friggin' Carl Lawson in one of these pointless friggin' games against friggin' Browns or something. When you let that kid loose out on the outside, and hopefully the Giants start him. If the Giants do not start him for some of these friggin' hamburger helper players that they've been holding around, like David Mayo last year, which I didn't understand David Mayo being there in the middle. If you let him loose, because he's a raw player, sometimes when there's chaos, there's opportunity. Let him just go.
Yeah, they don't have
If you let
choice,
him go,
really.
Blake Martinez is good enough to cover that middle, along with whoever else they have.
We're gonna have Blake Martinez. We're gonna have Blake Martinez on the show.
Oh, good. I hope you two continue to say the blasphemous
What's
things.
funny is, and that's the other thing that I don't realize. That's why when everybody talks about that NFL 100 and all that stuff and everything, Blake Martinez has been in the top 3 in tackles for like the last 5 years, I think.
Yep.
And for some
he's a
strange
great
reason,
run stopper. He just has trouble in coverage.
He does not, and he's a good leader. He's a good leader in regards to moving guys around and making adjustments on the line. You know, he's not quite Ray Lewis, but let's be real. He's as good as the Giants are going to be able to get, and they got him off free agency, which he had a pretty damn good year. But unfortunately, that guy gets no respect whatsoever.
Zero. Should have been a Pro Bowler last year.
You know, and
shoulda, coulda, woulda, Tyler. That you sound so much like a Giant fan. It's so
Why?
funny.
It's honest.
Because
he has
you're not
2
honest.
records.
I'm
He
sitting,
owns 2
I'm
records.
sitting here. I could say,
The man
well, this
doesn't
Jet
ever get
and that
acknowledged
guy
as a
and
top
that
10
Jet and that Jet.
linebacker.
I'm not
It's
going to sit there and
ridiculous.
say
No,
that. The Jets are
only
not
three-
even. The Jets aren't going to win more than 8 games this year.
Hold
I'm
on.
an honest
Tyler,
Jet fan.
You're full.
You
Tyler,
are
only
a
3 middle
giant.
linebackers
You're a
make the Pro Bowl,
giant.
by the way.
You should spit your food, spit your drinks out in your face because you sound like a moron.
Only 3 middle linebackers make the Pro
You wanna
Bowl,
know
and they were
something?
going to keep out Fred Warner, Eric Kendricks, and Levante David.
Listen, this might sound insane. I'm not a Jet fan, but I would
Blake
not put it
Martinez,
past the
I
Jets to
never
actually
could
beat
argue.
Carolina in the first week.
They're going to beat Carolina in the first week. I picked them.
Because unfortunately, from what everybody's been talking about, there's not been many happy days over there with that freaking head coach in Carolina, from what I hear.
Anthony, hold on one second. Speedy, read everybody what everybody's writing,
All right,
please.
Slug says the Houston prosecutor has been calling Deshaun Watson hashtag the Prince of Potato Salad, hashtag the Sultan of Coleslaw, hashtag ban the beef. Alex has a hashtag the Prince of Packing Fudge, hashtag beef loves fudge. Snug says. Josh
So
says,
does Tyler.
Josh says, Tyler, I would absolutely
Fudge is
not
delicious.
keep a bona fide hybrid linebacker who is absolutely awful on pass coverage. Also a loudmouth, I think, referring to Jamal Adams. Snug says, is this guy Lyle's cousin? No, he is not. Carl says, wait, other than Gronk, who went to Tampa Bay, just asking. Jeff responds, Fournette, Brown, and Gronk. Quit it, Tyler. Hooray, drugs, Snug says. Jeff says, I knew this moment was coming. He's the beef. Carl says, how did we let Tyler off the hook with the Saquon Sanders statement? Snug says, is it possible to have a
Because
take
no one
more
knows how
stupid
to
than the
read.
Beeves Barry Sanders comment is now a philosophy question?
It's
being
the
considered.
by the way, Speedy, I'm going to say it was one of the worst takes I've ever heard comparing
Why?
Saquon
'Cause
Barkley
he
to
runs
Barry
like Barry
Sanders. He is
Sanders?
not even close to him. Don't even.
You're talking about
don't even
career
mention-
accomplishments.
Don't even
You
mention.
talk about career
the
accomplishments.
Same name. It's like Ezekiel Elliott comparing Ezekiel Elliott to Barry Sanders. Ezekiel Elliott's had a better career than Saquon Barkley has.
Oh God.
Oh God, what he
'Cause
has?
I don't understand.
He has.
What's so?
Go ahead,
This is why
Speedy.
comprehension is important.
Go ahead, Speedy.
Yeah, he says, it's now a philosophy question being considered by one of the best minds in academia. Jeff says, we aren't, trust me, in response to Carl. Snug says, kind of amazing that 2 of the most amazing takes ever in both on Barry Sanders. Jeff says, Tyler is the beef with shittier hair. Carl says 2,000 rushing yards in a season for Barry with a miserable line. He's like says he's not even close to Zeke. Chaz comes in. Hey, Tyler, you're wrong. Yes, extra exclamation points. And he did it with the Jets. Josh says, I mean, this is outrageous. The fact that Barkley hasn't done anything in the league, being in the same category as Curtis
This is
Martin
why you
is
got kicked off the
blasphemy.
show, because you say stupid shit.
He didn't
He's
get
done
kicked off
nothing
on this show.
Whatever.
Martin is top 5 all time. He did it with the freaking Jets.
Oh, he did
Carl
not.
says
He's not top 5 all
Saquon
time.
was
That's
injured at Penn State also. Josh says Henry's the best back. Stop this conversation. Jeff says, how y'all still talking about this? Remember when Carl says, remember when Tyler says the Rangers have the most talent in the NHL?
I didn't say that.
Josh
Yes,
says,
you did.
Josh says, I'm a Ranger fan, and that's not even close to true. LOL. Carl says true. Snug says hamburger helper. Jeff says, don't bank on Ojulari. He's hurt too much. Josh says, as long as the Cowboys suffer, I could care less. Jeff says, I'll ban Darnold throws for 400. Snug says, Martinez and I trained in team log rolling. Last year we came in third in the Canadian Steel Wheel World Championships. Josh says, I've enjoyed Hard Knocks enough. Ben says, agreed. Josh says, I'll say 450 for Darnold. I don't even think he's played in the preseason yet, though game-wise. Jeff says, ask Anthony about the Chigadze fight. Have him pick somebody so I could bet the person he doesn't pick. And thanks, Tyler. After I back you in a place, you throw shade. Forget back you up anymore. Chigadze, is that how you pronounce it? I don't know.
Yeah, Chigadze. And by the way, Anthony and Anthony,
don't you ask me anything about Jake Paul?
No. We're not talking about MMA. We're in the middle of football conversation now. Anthony, I want everybody. What are your top 5 running backs right now in the NFL, from top to bottom, healthy or not healthy completely? Where do you put your top 5? I want everybody. You could post it up, and we'll read everybody's top 5 running backs right now, and tell me why you think why he is in number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Number 5.
Wait a minute. Am I going just from a pure fan standpoint, or am I going if it's like a fantasy?
Whatever you want. If you whatever you want to do.
Well, no, it is 2 different things.
All right. So fantasy. Don't even do fantasy.
Well, yeah, fantasy's different than reality.
Just reality. Yeah. Just reality. Who are the top 5 running backs in the NFL right now, going into the season?
I think
healthy.
Going into the season,
yes.
Healthy.
Yes.
That are going to have basically, I'm predicting the future. The top 5.
Go ahead. Who do you think is the top 5 running backs this year?
I'm just going to name them. I don't think I can rank them.
Okay.
I'm just going to name them.
Okay.
If that's
enough. Fine. That's fine.
Chubb is definitely going to be one of them, hands down. If he's healthy, Barkley's going to be one of them. He's going to be one of them. Dalvin Cook, definitely. If he's healthy, McCaffrey, as long as Carolina doesn't get him hurt. And then one left, probably Henry. I see Kamara falling off this year.
Speedy, top 5.
Cook, definitely, for sure. I actually think he's more talented all around than McCaffrey, too, even though McCaffrey's more productive. Then I'll say Henry, or I'll say Henry number 1, Cook number 2. I'll go McCaffrey, Kamara, Saquon. That order, top 5.
Go ahead. Let's hear it. Barkley 1, because that's what's going to.
No one else ranked him. What am I going to rank?
Go ahead.
You got Saquon. You got Nick Chubb.
I ranked him.
Oh, all right. Paul, hold on. Everybody, calm down. So you got Saquon. You got Nick Chubb. Then you've got Derrick Henry. You got CMC, and then Cook. So I would probably say, going into the season, Saquon is 5, but he's got the potential to be 1. Then I would go Cook. Then I'd go Chubb, then Henry, then CMC.
So basically, me and Tyler have the same players.
You guys have the same. Yeah, you guys have the same. I switched out Kamara and Chubb. I think was the only difference.
I right now going into the season, I'm taking Alvin Kamara. He's the best running back going into the season. Derrick Henry is going to be number 2, especially he starts off slow usually. Last year he started off strong and ended strong. He usually starts off slow.
Right. I think he only had 2 games where he was bad back to back, and that was it.
So I'm going to say Derrick Henry 2, Christian McCaffrey 3, and I think McCaffrey's going to have a sensational year because he has a quarterback that can throw down the field, something that he hasn't had since day 1. So even though I don't know how good Sam Darnold's going to be over there with Carolina, he could throw down the field. So I think it's going to open up the field and give him the opportunity to run the ball. So McCaffrey 3, I would say Chubb number 4. And everybody forgets about Hunt, who is a sensational running back. And yes, he's going to be touching the ball almost a little bit less than Chubb, but I think Hunt had 1,100 yards last year or something like that.
1,100, I think, scrimmage yards last year because he was a very good pass catching back and was nice when even when Chubb was playing, he was still nice production wise in those games. I think he had 1,100 or 1,200 scrimmage yards.
Did I put Cook on any of them?
No, I think Cook is the one you like.
I think Cook is 5. Yeah, okay. I think Cook is 5. I don't put Saquon Barkley in the top 5 this year. He's coming back from a significant injury. He has not even played a preseason game yet. Now, maybe they're protecting him, but we don't even know what he is. I mean, the facts are when you read the stories that are coming out from Giant Camp, they don't sound very good. Okay. So again,
do they ever sound any good?
No, but I understand what you're saying, but it's not very good what we're hearing.
Ben, sound any good? I'm just saying.
Ben also says his list is McCaffrey, Cook, Henry, Kamara, and Aaron Jones in no particular order.
I'm not a huge Aaron Jones fan, especially what he did in the playoffs last year. He completely died in the playoffs. He got pretty much dragged off the field. He got a $14.5 million contract, and I don't think he deserved it. That's just my opinion.
Austin Eckler is actually going to have a pretty good season.
He has to improve as a pure runner. Like as a fantasy running back, he's very good because he's a pass catching guy, but he has to improve as a pure runner because he wasn't good in the red zone last year. And again, him being a smaller back, he's got to really grow his game. But that offensive line improvement should help him because they signed Corey Linsley and they drafted Rashawn Slater. So that should help them if they're healthy too.
You know, it's so interesting because I was talking about the NFC North today with Eric, and Eric, he's telling me there was a couple of people telling me that the Packers they don't think the Packers are the best team in that division this year. And
I was one of them.
You were one of them too. And I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised about that because the Bears are going to be a little bit better this year. They could be a borderline playoff team because of their defense. And if Justin Fields is anywhere close to what some people think he could be as a rookie, he can absolutely bring that team to the playoffs as a wild card team. The Vikings, I don't think the Vikings got better this offseason. And Thielen can't stay healthy. Cooks hasn't been healthy. He can't stay healthy for a full season. And the Lions, we know what they are. So
Cook was last year, though.
Last year, but he can't. And I think he missed one game last year. So Cook hasn't.
Oh, maybe he missed one. Okay.
Cook didn't play a full season. I don't think he's ever played a full season since he come into the league. So I think the Packers are by far the best team in this division. Why does everybody hate on the Packers? If Aaron Rodgers is 100% healthy and he plays the whole season, that's what scares me. I just have this bad feeling with their offensive line. They're not going to be able to protect him, and he's going to get killed this year.
I think the reason being is because of everything that happened with Aaron Rodgers, and not to mention, number one is distractions. Number two, because he wanted to act like a little crybaby who wanted a friggin' box of cereal in a friggin' grocery store. He ended up getting what he wanted, and he got a whole bunch of players that are like 36, 37, 38 years old because they're his boys, and the team actually got older. I mean, you put Randall Cobb on that damn team in place of somebody that could actually play a lot better. You're telling me that he's not going to go to his boy? Of course he is. They didn't bring Randall Cobb in there to start playing games with, you know what I mean, just sitting on the bench like he did over in Houston. It's not going to happen. You're actually going to see Amari Rodgers lose a lot of targets and attention, the same thing as Adams, because you're going to see Cobb in the game a lot more. And Cobb is what, damn near 40 years old now?
Yeah, well, they brought Cobb back to make him happy. They brought him back to make Aaron Rodgers happy.
Then he wanted Clay Matthews, for the love of God. He realized that a 40-something-year-old Clay Matthews, he actually has to tackle people, for Christ's sake.
No, it's one of his buddies. And by the way, everybody says, Carl says, I've literally heard no one bashing the Packers. And then Josh says, I haven't heard either. And they're going back and forth. I have. I know a bunch of Packer fans, and there's 2 or 3 Packer fans that I spoke to that they're worried about the Packers this year because of the offensive line. Losing 2 significant pieces to the offensive line in free agency definitely hurts them. Aaron Rodgers, who has not really played in one preseason game yet, he's got a new offensive line to figure out. And by the way, this is a completely different offense this year. They've added some offensive pieces. They still don't have a predominant number 2 wide receiver. Randall Cobb isn't a number 2 wide receiver. They drafted,
as long as it is to Rodgers, that's all that matters.
They drafted again,
but he's not a number 2 talent.
He hasn't played in one preseason game yet, and they have one more preseason game. You know, so you're going into the season cold, and guess who he's playing in week number 1? He's playing the Saints, and the Saints are a good defensive team. Say whatever you want about them. Quarterback-wise, they're not, but all-around team, they're very talented. So they could lose the first week. Absolutely could.
Josh also says, Tyler, what has Barkley done in the league? He wants to know. Carl says Tyler bashes everyone and then says we were miserable and unaccomplished people when we dish it back to him. Stug says Zeke, Barkley.
Well, first of all, I always have players' backs. I don't listen to you people bash players because
bashing players. I never bashed Saquon Barkley.
Did I say you?
Oh, but you say you people
because these Facebook trolls just continue to talk and talk and talk. Like, shut up. You're watching us. We're not watching you. And what does Saquon did? He only led the league in.
Why do you take shots at people that are listening to us and our fans? What is that? Is it a problem? Is that a problem that people actually listen to the show and want to listen to the show and be entertained? And you're going to take shots at them because they're listening to you talk about your rubbish, crazy crap, and you compare Barry Sanders and Saquon Barkley?
Not compare them.
Yes, you did.
All I said was they visually look like the same running
And I
back.
think you're a visual idiot. You're a visual idiot.
Well, Curtis Martin's top 7 all time.
Yeah, Curtis Martin. If there's anybody closest to Barry Sanders, I would take Curtis Martin over Saquon Barkley. Sorry, but it's absolutely true.
Snug says, could I put Jake Paul as a top 5 running back if we're only going on potential? His top 5, Zeke, Barkley, Barry Sanders, Eric Bieniemy, and Blair Thomas. Carl says, Tyler's favorite diss is to say that we are lame for listening to a show late night Thursday night when he in fact is on the show. Carl also says, Giants need to bring back Mark Bavaro. Josh gives his 5, Henry, McCaffrey, Cook, Kamara, and Aaron Jones. Carl says,
wow, he put Aaron Jones in there?
Carl says Packers are the best in that division. It always hurts, but I have to say it. Josh says, have you seen the defense? Dalton has stunk. Oh, this is funny. Trubisky torched the Bears D of all people. That's funny. Ben says Rodgers repeat for MVP. Carl says Bears haven't played a starter on defense for the first 2 games. Josh says Packers by far are the best team in that division. Even still, the lack of depth is scary for the Bears. Ben says it's been nonstop bashing on the Packers all offseason. Josh says Rodgers doesn't have to. He'll be just fine. Snug says I've heard more pro-Packer talk than after confirming Rodgers. Josh says until Rodgers came back. Carl says it's
why is it automatically assumed that it's called bashing when you just basically say a team is not going to be as good as they were the year before?
Right. That's a fair point too. Carl also says I'm not on how they handled Rodgers.
Say the Packers won't win the division.
Not on talent.
There's a lot of people that say that.
And who will?
By the way, keep reading.
Just 2 more. Josh said you had a fan, Tyler, and I'm convinced Tyler thinks the earth is flat.
And then Jeff just said something.
I don't see one from Jeff.
Tyler has no fans. He's got canceled twice on the network. The only reason he's back is because Errol has a soft spot for such a big loser. That's not true. That's not true. But
I didn't get canceled twice. First of all, I left once. No offense. And then the second time, well, I worked with Mike
Don't
Guido.
let them bother you. I told you.
I don't care what they say. That's why they're in their feelings. I don't care what they say.
All right, so,
and to answer Josh's question, as a rookie, he only led the league in yards from scrimmage. I don't know if you know football or not, but that's a very impressive feat. So to say he's done nothing in the league is blasphemous. And he's had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons.
Anthony, is there a team that's going to surprise you this year in any of these divisions? Who do you think could sneak into the playoffs in one of these divisions, in the NFC and the NFC, and why? I want to know everybody's surprise team. We know at first I knew who Jeff's surprise team. Now he took it back today. He told me there's no way the Jaguars, I think it was today or yesterday or the day before, that he said there's no way the Jaguars are going to make the playoffs with that offensive line. But Anthony, is there a particular team in the league that could sneak into the playoffs and make a lot of noise throughout the season?
San Diego.
Interesting.
Sorry, the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm sorry.
Why that? I know you like Justin Herbert, but is there any other reason why?
I like Justin Herbert. I like what they did in the draft. I thought they had a really strong draft, and it was really complementary to what they needed. I think it helps out Austin Eckler quite a bit. I think Allen is going to go off this year. I think Allen's going to have a really good year. And I think it all just starts with Herbert. The defense is pretty damn good, too. They added some pieces. I think Derwin
They also
James
lost a
coming
piece.
back.
They lost a piece, too.
Who'd they lose this time?
Casey Hayward too,
and the linebacker, the big what's his name again?
Ingram.
Ingram. They lost Ingram.
Yes. But I think one of the biggest pieces is getting Derwin James back. Is a big piece. He's a big piece, and unfortunately, he's another guy injury prone and all that. But when he's on, he's on.
He's one of the best safeties in the league. No question that he is.
Easily.
Yeah.
I mean, coming off his rookie season, a lot of people were like, "This is the next coming." And then, unfortunately, he had those 2 bad injuries, which I'm surprised that he even came back from them because they were bad. And I think I'm going to keep calling him San Diego. The hell with him. But I think San Diego is really going to make some noise. And then I think, honestly, in the NFC, not that we didn't see shades of it last year, but I think Arizona is going to make a really big push this year. A lot bigger push than a lot of people think.
Carl was saying, what are our thoughts with the Washington football team? I think Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I think they suck. They're not going to do a damn thing.
Well, I think Ryan Fitzpatrick in his first year, everywhere he goes his first year, he actually plays very well. And they have some weapons. This year, obviously, have a good number 1 wide receiver. We've seen him play.
Very good number 1.
Good number 1. And he was a 4th or 3rd round draft
pick. They were only they were only drafting him initially because of Haskins, because he played with Haskins, and he turned out to be the way better player.
And over the last couple of years, they've drafted a lot of good running backs. Finally, hopefully
Unfortunately, last year, their draft last year sucked. Or this year sucked.
Yeah, this year it did. I agree with that.
This year it was literally one of those things where I think they picked up a linebacker in the first round.
Yeah, they did, and they reached badly. That was supposed to be like a second or third round pick linebacker, and they took him in the first. I like the offensive lineman they took, but that was a
draft, maybe.
Right.
I mean, the guy was that freaking bad.
You don't think Chase Young and this defense is going to be beastly this year? This is going to be one of the best defenses in the league.
Considering I've heard everybody knock Andrew Thomas, and unfortunately, Andrew Thomas had his way with Chase Young last year in 2 games.
But that's one team.
Chase Young was still Rookie of the Year, though.
Well, listen, considering I'm a Giant fan, it's a pretty big deal to me. That's the only one I'm worried about. But honestly, in regards to Chase Young, I mean, yeah, he's a great player and all that. The other 3, I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up with his progression. I really don't see that happening. Plus, they lost Ryan Kerrigan. I understand the guy was old.
He didn't play much either
on that line. He didn't, but he was a leader. He was a leader on that defense. I think he was a big reason why a lot of those guys gelled, and he brought a lot of those things together because, unfortunately, outside of the head coach, a lot of those position coaches, they suck. I'm not saying it from a Giant standpoint. I'm just saying it because I know where they all come from. But then again, as we all said about the NFC East, the NFC sucks. I understand that. You know what I mean? It's a weak division. But I think
Anthony, Washington is a very stout defensive team. They're definitely a top 5 defensive team this year, and that's going to keep them in games, especially in the NFC East.
It's going to keep them in a game, but it's not going to win them. It's not going to win them anything.
They probably, after Miami, have the second best corner tandem in football, with now signing William Jackson. Him and Fuller together now is a very nice combo.
I mean, this team is, and they're not a bad offensive team. They're going to be able to run the ball this year. Their offensive line, with all the draft picks they've had over the years, offensively, they brought back what's his name again? Their top offensive lineman, Scherf, and this is a very good offensive line. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, say whatever you want for every year that he plays on another team. Every year he's I wouldn't say he's a Pro Bowler, but
he's usually a first half spark that'll get them going, and then a lot of times they'll fall off in the second half.
I don't know about that. If you go back at Ryan Fitzpatrick's first years, everywhere he's gone, they're pretty damn good. They're pretty damn good.
They take teams that are supposed to be terrible to make them competitive, and then teams
they need to worry about the quarterback position in terms of depth, because once you get past Fitzmagic there, who the hell do you have? You really have nothing.
It's either Kyle Allen if he's healthy or Taylor Heineke.
But Fitzpatrick doesn't really get hurt.
I think Ron Rivera is pretty good with helping young quarterbacks.
I mean, there's a first time for everything, especially when you're 57 years old.
He's not 57 years old. Come on, he's 36.
I'm sorry.
As long as he keeps that beard going, I think he'll play till he's 100.
I think Washington, the team that I think you better watch, and Joe Burrow still sounds very confident with what he says with the wide receivers. If he's anywhere close to 100% healthy, watch out for the Bengals. I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be very dangerous. Mixon is a great running back. People forget how good Mixon is, and the way they rated him. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been looking at the top running backs. They rated him like 11th or 12th. He's 7th or 6th best running back in the league. He's a beast. He's a beast of a man. Now, he has been fighting injury the last couple of years. Guy can't stay on the field. But when he's on the field, tell me a running back that is as consistent as he is, power-wise, and he can run on the outside and do the things that he can do. And the Bengals, they've drafted a couple of good offensive linemen the last couple of years. Finally, this year, they might be at full strength offensively. And they added some offensive line help, which they needed to, because Joe Burrow was getting killed last year. But Joe Burrow looked like Joe Burrow. If he's healthy, he was to me, he was Rookie of the Year. He was Rookie of the Year last year.
Wow,
I agree with that.
Absolutely.
Snug says the Lions versus Bengals Super Bowl. Josh says, congratulations. He had one good year. Whoopee. Referring to Saquon.
Back 1,000 yards is 1 year.
Snug says, the Dallas Cowboys, the surprise team. You answered Carl's. Josh says, I'm still convinced Tyler was at the Capitol building during the riots. Carl says, now.
You still think that's a riot, pal? You better get your head out of your head.
Carl says, Washington has a few Alabama defensive players, Mark's favorite football team. And DTs for Washington are beasts. Yes, they are. Deron Payne.
Why is everybody taking the Panthers and think the Panthers are going to squeak into the playoffs? Like, what is it about the Panthers?
That division.
What is it about them?
Because after the Buccaneers, that division is really who can finish second. It's up for anything.
The Saints are still pretty damn
Saints
good.
are still good, yeah.
Hold on. Jameis Winston is a huge question mark.
I agree with you.
Huge question.
I agree with you, but you have Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas. That defense is good. Their offensive line is
means
good.
nothing if James Winston's not hitting him.
Well, you got to remember, it depends on if Michael Thomas is also there because he might get traded. So
I don't think he's getting traded. I don't think anybody. First of all, nobody's going to give up what I heard they want for Michael Thomas. I mean, I'm hearing 2 first-round draft picks.
Oh, that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. They're not going to get that. Why is it that the Panthers are now? Sam Darnold is an upgrade. I know Teddy Bridgewater in the beginning of the season was fantastic, and then he fell off. Matt Rule, everybody keeps thinking that he's an offensive guru. Offensively, what did he show last year in the second half that made him a guru? What did we see last year with the Carolina Panthers that made Matt Rule? Oh my God, this guy's a guru. Honestly, he was one of the worst coaches in the second half of the season.
I think what a lot of people like, and I know Dave was mentioning it too yesterday when we had him on the show, the way that the Panthers competed in a lot of different games too. And Jeff was saying that thing with the Jaguars. They lost a lot of those games. The Panthers were kind of the same way. They hung tough with Tampa in both meetings against them. They hung tough with the Chiefs. So they played well against good teams. And I think maybe now getting some defensive improvements. They had a good draft with that. They added Denzel Perriman in the offseason to upgrade a linebacker to go with Shaq Thompson. And their veteran pass rushers are a lot better than they've been in the past too, where that defense should be able to mold together a little bit. You had guys that played well, young guys that played well last year and overperformed. I think that's what maybe because if they are not confident in the Saints, that's why a lot of people do end up liking them. Just because the NFC West teams, probably 3 teams are going to make it. I probably still have them just out of the playoffs, but I definitely could see them rising for sure.
Anthony, is there some reason why everybody thinks the Carolina Panthers are going to just explode?
Personally, I mean, even with the additions that they've made, draft picks and all that stuff, with the exception of the obvious change at starting quarterback, I don't see this team as being any different than it was last year.
So how do you think they'll be?
Anderson, you have McCaffrey and all that. I don't really see, I mean, you made a change at quarterback, and hopefully Darnold, I mean, everybody feels bad for what happened with the Jets and everything, and hopefully he does well, and hopefully he has some chemistry there, especially with, a familiar face with Robbie Anderson and things like that. But, I mean, I really, from a management standpoint, I don't really see that they did anything so drastic to change the team from being anything more than what it was last year.
So you think they're still like a 6-win team?
See that they're worse, but I don't really see them making any dynamic strides in the up direction. I don't know what the hell Matt Rule is all about. I really don't.
Yeah,
I don't know what the hell he is. I mean, other than being a preacher or whatever the hell he is, and like a freaking he's more like Tony Robbins than he is a freaking Vince Lombardi. Other than that, I don't really know what the hell the guy brings to the table as a coach. I really don't.
Josh says, I have no faith in Carolina. Snooks says Sam Darnold for 2021 MVP. Ben says Woodley and Jake Paul scuffle.
I heard about that.
Talk trash with Woodley's mom at the presser.
Who cares? That's all a show. That was all a show. Go ahead.
Carl says, did Tyler just say January 6th wasn't a riot? And then Snooks says Robbie Anderson was like,
ever heard of a peaceful riot before? I haven't.
How about you, Tyler? Why does everybody love the Panthers this year?
I have no idea. I can't tell you. I agree with Sensei. I agree with what you're saying. This. I don't get it. McCaffrey will have a great year. Darnold will be vastly improved from his jet.
You really think so?
That Darnold will be better?
Vastly improved. Now Darnold had what 3,000 yards last year?
All right, so he'll throw 4,000.
You think he's going to throw 4,000?
They're going to be behind a lot. So yeah, he's going to throw. He's going to throw 4,000.
I don't know if I don't know if they're going to be behind a lot. I mean,
that defense. I don't think that defense.
They play a lot of close games.
They
got
a good front four. I mean,
Perriman and Thompson are good.
Is Perriman out for the year?
Is he?
Didn't he just get hurt yesterday?
Oh, maybe.
I remember. I remember reading something about Perriman yesterday.
He did get hurt.
So
I don't know if he's out for the year.
And then I don't trust their corners. Jeremy Chinn's all right, but that's it.
Well, Dante Jackson's a good 2. He's just not really a 1. And then
Jace Horn's good too.
Well, really? He'll evolve.
And another thing, everybody keeps saying because the Buccaneers brought back all their players, they're guaranteed a Super Bowl contention. Now they're bringing back all the talent that they brought back. It definitely is a spark to say, oh my God, they could be contenders again this year. It is so hard to repeat in this league.
By the way, Perriman got traded. He actually got traded to the Raiders yesterday.
I remember reading something
it is
about
so hard. It is so hard to repeat. Year in and year out, week in and week out. And you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yes, they didn't lose any players. Did they get better? Did they get better?
But how do you get better after winning a Super Bowl?
It doesn't matter because last year they were a play away from not going to the Super Bowl. They were a play away not going to the Super Bowl.
But they dominated that whole Super Bowl. At no point did Pat Mahomes even come close to getting that
again,
team.
Kansas City lost their 2 offensive tackles.
I understand that. I get it. But Lady Luck had it that the Buccaneers had free reign on Pat Mahomes all night.
That's fine. And again,
saying, how do you
who's
get
to
better?
say that JPP is not going to? He's going to be healthy all season long.
I agree with you, but I'm sure there's depth on that team.
Now, I'm not taking shots at the Buccaneers. Tom Brady's there, and that gives them an opportunity to win every single year. But Tom Brady even came out and said the other day that they weren't even at their best. Now, Tom Brady, he that's how he calms his team. He puts all the pressure on himself, and he goes out there and he produces. That's why he's Tom Brady. But for him to come out and say, well, we weren't at the top of our games. We didn't play at the top of the game. In the second half of the season, they were just as good as anybody. So to say that they weren't at the top of the game, how much better could you be? How much better could you be?
That's motivation, though. That's smart for him to say.
Really? That's putting pressure on your team.
Listen, if anyone's allowed to say whatever they want, I'm not questioning what Tom Brady does.
Well, that's great, but it still puts pressure on
That's
your team.
not like Joe Burrow
your
saying
team
that.
is
That's
not Tom Brady.
Right.
Your team is not Tom
I think
Brady.
it makes a difference if it's somebody else. Like I think Baker Mayfield did it with the Browns in 2019. They had a lapse bad year that year, and they're young quarterbacks that have done it. Like they overblow their team and then they don't do anything. There's been a couple instances with defensive players, and I think Alshon Jeffrey did it too with the Eagles, and they won the Super Bowl that year. But I would trust it with Tom Brady for sure. Jeff says peaceful.
Oh, so you think they're a Super Bowl contender for sure? Because Tom Brady
contender,
says.
yes. I'm not guaranteeing them to go to the Super Bowl, but they're definitely a contender.
Yeah, they're a top 3 team.
So you think they're going to have better numbers with Tom Brady this year? That's what you're saying. Tom Brady's going to have better numbers than he did last year.
They might win more games, though.
About the same. I don't think it'll be much drastic.
So how
difference.
could you take that from Tom Brady? You just said I would take that from Tom Brady and ride with it. That's what you said, right?
Well, no, I said I agree with Tyler where I would trust their that as a motivating cue for their players because he's done it with a lot of different guys with the Patriots. And last year, all the players they brought in, Jeff was saying it, Carl was saying it in the comments section, all these new players all at once. These teams don't just gel overnight and win. And then they worked with Tom Brady. So I would trust it with him just because of that.
All right. Are the Rams for real? That's what I want to know.
No,
I think
are the
so.
Rams for real?
I think so.
No way.
I don't want them to be for real, but
Why don't you want it? Why do you hate the Rams so much?
They moved to LA and betrayed their city.
Okay, but that has nothing to do.
So
that's
the
not the
Chargers.
team.
I know.
That's not the team. That's the
No.
ownership.
I'm more hurt with the Chargers.
I'm just saying I'm going to judge the Rams as an analyst and not as not disliking them or disliking them.
Wait a second.
I think they are for real.
You said you have a problem with the fact that the Rams betrayed what?
They're
St. Louis.
By the way, the Rams were LA.
I know that. They were also Cleveland, a bunch of other teams. I know. Yeah, but they shouldn't have lost. St. Louis didn't do anything wrong to lose their team. They played in a dump of the stadium.
LA the first time.
And neither did Oakland losing the Raiders. They just had to play in a dump of a stadium. Yes, Carl, I know football
Oakland
history.
told them to kick him out.
Speedy wasn't alive when they were LA.
I know they were also Cleveland. I know their past. I understand that. But again, they only lost the team because of their owner and their stadium was a dump.
What makes you think that they're for real?
Can we just go back to 3 divisions in each conference?
What is it?
It was so much more fun.
Which one?
When we just had 3 divisions in each
you're
conference.
talking East Central West. Yeah, you're talking East Central
I
West.
think the NFL, they love this. They love this. And I've been hearing that they might bring an expansion team in the next couple of years, I'm hearing. So
from London?
They're gonna if they bring an expansion if they bring an expansion team, they're gonna have to bring 2 of them because it doesn't make sense to bring one of them in. It doesn't fit. You know, even if they're adding the extra game every single year, you have to bring in another team.
Right, but what division do you put them in anyway?
I don't know. I'm
That's
just
what I'm saying.
I don't know what they're doing, but I heard through different people, I've heard different stories that there could be very much an expansion team coming out in the next 5 years. So if that's the case, and Roger Goodell loves this because this puts money in the NFL's pocket. More money,
if it's in
more
London, you're gonna
cities.
see the NFL crumble.
But I don't know about crumble. I mean, the NFL is God right now. That's what it is.
They're not going to crumble over an expansion team.
Not at all.
I don't know. I don't think the London experiment is going to work, but that doesn't mean the NFL is going to crumble.
Watch.
But
watch how many people stop watching the NFL because they feel betrayed.
Is McVay's job on the line this year?
No, I think the GM is not the.
I think it's McVay's job. I think it's McVay's job
because the GM was the one that gave all those draft picks for Stafford.
Because McVay, first of all, McVay said that he can win with Matthew Stafford. That's what he said. So he did whatever he could to trade Goff in those 2 first rounds. You think McVay had nothing to do with it?
No, I'm sure he had something.
He had a lot to do with it.
I'm sure huge upgrade to what McVay is used to. Matt Stafford can make every throw we've ever seen a quarterback make. Jared Goff does not.
But the reason I think that they are still going to be a very good team is that they did it, like I was saying with Tampa last year, they did it with a lot of new players all at once on that defense. That defense was great all at once with like these new linebackers, new safeties. They lost a ton in the offseason. And then same thing with their offensive line. They had Andrew Whitworth out much of the year. All those young guys stepped up and played well. And I think between Brandon Staley taking over for Wade Phillips the way he did last year and making that defense great all at once, and now he's gone, I trust their culture, that system to do well to at least make it. Will they win the division? I'm not sure because the 49ers are the best team when they're healthy. But how healthy are they? Arizona's improved, but they're definitely still going to be a playoff team. I think still one of the top teams in the West. And again, that LA storyline could be something that could be an incentive for them.
McVay, is he a goner if they lose this year after making that big trade? Anthony, do you think it's a must-win year for them, especially in the Super Bowl? The Super Bowl is in LA this year, so this is a very good chance. If there's a chance, and by the way, Matthew Stafford went home. He's from LA. That's where he is. And by the way, his best friend, Clayton Kershaw, is there too. So do you think this is a must-win year for the Rams? If they don't, is McVay gone?
I don't think it's just for McVay. I think it's for Mike McCarthy, a must-win too. I think both of them are on the hot seat.
Well, I've said that over and over.
And here's the thing, and it's kind of funny when people bring up the whole Hard Knocks thing. Hard Knocks, first off, I mean, when you watch it, it shows a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff and everything. But the one thing that it definitely shows this year, and I'm not blaming on editing or anything like that, there is no maturity in that team. None. And even in the coaching staff, when you see it, it almost looks like the lunatics run the asylum over there. And even when it comes to Jerry Jones, he doesn't have the same handle on that team like he has in the past at all.
That's where I disagree.
And I don't know if it has to do with age or anything like that. Maybe it does have to do with age, and he needs somebody else to be the GM and such. But I mean, it's not just McVay. I think McCarthy is gone too if they don't have a winner. Especially you have Dak, and you know what I mean. You have ultimately all your pieces there this year on both teams. You have a brand new quarterback and a very good quarterback with Stafford, because Stafford had really good numbers. He had top 10 numbers with a piece of crap team like the Lions over the last 8 years that he's been in league probably. And now you're giving him a whole bunch of toys that he's never had a collection like this ever. And I understand, Akers is out and such, but Sony Michel, the way Sony Michel was used for so many years in New England, he didn't get bounced around like most running backs do. He'll give you something. You know what I mean?
He was good in the playoffs.
Those 3 yards that you need, those 2 yards you need, and you play him in there with Henderson. But I know we're expanding. I know expanded over to the Cowboys, and I'm not saying it because I'm a Giant fan or anything. I'm saying it because it's absolutely true. I am probably less worried about the Giants playing the Cowboys this year than last year, and that's with CeeDee Lamb and all those guys and everything. Because honestly, I just don't see them progressing at all. And McVay better hope. And I don't think when it comes to when you get a quarterback like Stafford and you made that much of an upgrade, the playoffs I don't think is going to do it, because he made it to the Super Bowl with Goff. If he doesn't make it to an NFC Championship game or a Super Bowl, I still think he's gone.
Carl says
they're really raising. I think they're definitely raising the ante on him. It's like, listen, we gave you everything you have now, everything you want.
Right.
You have decent tight ends. You have a decent offensive line. You have a great defense. We gave you a quarterback that is probably pumped as hell when he found out that he was going there, and he's going home. You have no excuses. He is the one head coach out of the whole damn season. I mean, out of the whole league that has no excuses not to win that division and go very, very far into the playoffs. And like I said, it's probably NFC Championship game or bust. You can't go. That's it. Especially if you made the damn Super Bowl with Goff.
Carl said,
Speedy, before you say that, there was a picture I wanted to post up. Jeff was trying to figure out what Tyler looks like. Okay. So, I wanted to put something together. Has anybody seen Ronald McDonald and his friends? There is a guy named Grimace. Okay. You guys got to check out.
Oh my!
Check out Grimace. Ready? Speedy, post that up. Show everybody who Grimace looks like. Cause I've been waiting. So it's so interesting. So Speedy, you got it up? Yeah, come on, Speedy. What's taking you so long?
Look at your screen. It's up.
All right,
It's up. It's up.
so look at Grimace. That's a nice face right there. What does everybody think? Does Tyler
really
look like
sad is
Grimace?
Most people probably think that's Barney.
And the smile
I don't
fits
think
it.
there's anybody old enough that knows who the hell Grimace is.
Oh, Carl loves it. Haha. Yes, Grimace.
Grimace. Yeah. What do you think, Tyler? You think you look like Grimace?
Yeah.
Listen, on this note, I gotta go. I
Thank
can't be a
you,
part of this.
Anthony.
Thank you,
In
Anthony.
2 seconds, you're gonna
Anthony,
see
I
a
love
freaking
you,
Zorro
man.
mask on Speedy as the freaking hamburger. I can't.
Oh, that's funny. Carl just comments at Hamburglar.
That's pretty good.
That's funny. Yeah.
Guys, you have a good night. I gotta go.
Thanks,
You too. Have a
thanks,
good night,
Anthony.
man.
Thanks for calling. Anthony Andorosi, a good friend of mine, gave us some good insight with everything. But doesn't he look like Grimace? Is it definitely? Come on, Tyler. That doesn't kind of fit.
I guess.
All right, take it off. Speedy.
Ben says, "Did he steal Hamburglar's hamburgers?"
That smile really sells. It does. Look at that smile.
Carl also says NFC Central when the Bucks sucked. They also sucked in the South too before this year. Snoke said, "I always loved the Atlanta Falcons in the NFC West." Ben says Salt Lake City and San Antonio are looking to bring hosts to an expansion team. Snoke says the new franchise is Long Island Sandwich Makers with the Sultan of Coleslaw as the mascot.
Interesting. But honestly, when we talk about and we're going to go over next week, we're going to do our picks where we think some of these teams are going to be, their divisions, and then we're going to pick our Super Bowl contenders, the teams that we think are going to go to the Super Bowl, and we're going to have the Beeve in the studio.
Yay!
That's going to be interesting. I'm sure.
Yay!
Don't you mean the Sultan of Coleslaw?
Yes, the Sultan of Coleslaw will be in the studios on Thursday. I'm pretty sure. So that will be interesting with Tyler and the Sultan of Coleslaw. And we got beef. We have the mothball and the Sultan of Coleslaw. This is going to be interesting. Is there anything that stands out to you going into the Super Bowl season that
Super Bowl season?
I mean, I'm sorry, the NFL season where there's a particular team. We said who our surprise teams, a particular team that's going to take a step back from a top team. Now, there is one team in particular that I can say that's going to fall off. I really do believe that. Is there a team, Speedy, you first, that you think is going to take steps back? A team that was a Super Bowl contender, a playoff contender last year. Who do you think is going to take their step back this year and be a bust of a team?
Exactly the one Dave Damashek said yesterday, the Seattle Seahawks. I think that division is too good right now with the Rams, Cardinals, and the Niners. That defense for Seattle they played well.
Even if Russell Wilson plays at the top of
Russell Wilson can only do so much, and I think this is the year it finally breaks for them because they were bad in the second half of the season with that offense. It was very inconsistent. That running game is still questionable. Chris Carson's been efficient when healthy, but still nothing special. The receivers are nice, but that's really all they have. That team doesn't have much. They'll win at home. They'll win their weird games at times. I'm not saying they're going to be a 4-12 team, but I just feel like they're going to be more average than they are a playoff contender because the rest of those teams, the Rams pretty much stayed the same. I think they got a little better. The Cardinals got a lot better, and San Francisco is definitely going to be better if they're healthy for sure. Because they're the best team in that division when healthy. I think this is the year it finally breaks for Seattle.
How about you, Mr. Tyler Harrison?
So I'm going to stay in the NFC, and the New Orleans Saints this year are going to fall heavily. I think they will finish third in their own division. Sean Payton has.
By the way, I've got breaking news after you finish.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm done.
Oh, I got breaking news.
New Orleans, Sean Payton's got a new regime. His quarterback is very either immature or ill-equipped, depending on who will start. Ian Book might even play some snaps. Who the hell knows? Michael Thomas will get traded at some point during the year. And that offensive line is great, but it doesn't matter if you're not doing the ball, any movement, and then the defense will keep them in games. But with Will Lutz being out for who knows how long, it's just a disaster.
He regressed a little last year too, Will Lutz.
The NBA reports that the New York Knicks have reached out to the Washington Wizards on trade talks for Bradley Beal.
Ooh.
So that's just popped up on my feed. NBA Network.
Carl also says #Beeve Elliott versus Saquon versus Sanders in studio. Slug says, are they both better than Barry Sanders, or who is better, Barkley or Zeke?
I never even said Saquon was better than Barry Sanders. I said he looked like Barry Sanders. That's all I said.
There's a lot of players that look like Barry Sanders, but it's not Barry Sanders.
I never said he was Barry Sanders. I said look like Barry Sanders.
Curtis Martin looked like Barry Sanders. I mean, Adrian Peterson at one point, as talented as he is, at his high points, at some points he looked like Barry Sanders. The way he could stop and go and twist and turn. I mean, Cook. We've seen Cook last year. He was unbelievable. His stop and go, ability, and he's so fast inside and out of the
secondary
pocket.
moves are amazing.
So he looks like Barry Sanders. There's a lot of running backs that you can compare and contrast to Barry, but they're not Barry Sanders. They're just not.
I didn't say he was Barry Sanders.
Carl says Gale Sayers looked like Barry Sanders. Snark says breaking
Gale
news.
Sayers was before Barry Sanders. How could you look like him before him?
Because he can watch old highlights of him.
No, but then that
like Barry Sanders.
It makes no sense.
Snark says breaking news: Jake the dog will be signing autographs with Jake Logan after the fights. Slug,
Jake Logan.
Slug,
You mean Jake Paul.
He could barely grip things in his mouth. Good luck gripping a thing on his paw.
But isn't that an interesting story? The NBA Network. What do you guys think the Knicks have to trade to get a Bradley Beal? I mean,
don't do it.
Why not?
Don't do it. You're gonna trade.
You're not trading Kemba, and you're not trading.
No, Kemba. Why would they want Kemba?
No, I'm just saying they're not going to trade Kemba. They're not.
Barrett.
Barrett's definitely in the trade.
Yeah,
he's absolutely.
Barrett quickly. Draft capital. And probably
what's
Robinson.
Draft capital? How many draft picks?
I mean, I'm asking for 3 firsts.
3 first-round draft picks. RJ Barrett, you're gonna have to give up a hell of a lot more than that. For
I understand. Emmanuel quickly is going to be in there. Mitchell Robinson will be in there.
A little too much.
Well, then you don't get Bradley Beal.
Yeah, I think Emmanuel quickly or Mitchell Robinson, but you're not going to get both of them.
Why? Mitchell Robinson's. Aren't the Knicks giving up on Mitchell Robinson?
No, they haven't. Actually, they're very
right.
They're
But
very
his value also diminished too, where you might have to add that extra player. I think him as the second piece is not going to be a little risky for them with that trade. I probably would have to maybe either do Quigley as the second piece or Mitchell Robinson with somebody else too, maybe a little below that. Because
but look at what the Knicks would have to give
because
up
of his injury history. Yeah, they'd have to give
I don't. Sure. If I'm the Knicks, I don't think I'd do that.
No,
I don't.
Because if you get Bradley Beal with the players, because if you give up, let's just say RJ Barrett, 3 first-round draft picks, and Emmanuel
Rose.
and no, they don't have to give it.
They're not going to have to give up any veterans.
No, Mitchell Robinson. All right,
Wizards might want him to run the point.
Mitchell Robinson, RJ Barrett, and 3 first-round draft picks. You're not making that trade
for who?
For Bradley Beal.
If I'm the Knicks, yes. If I'm the Wizards, no.
But they're first of all, Bradley Beal has said that he wants out. He's already come out and say, and the Knicks right now.
Hold on. How many times do we hear this? And then
Lillard's
been in and out 5 times.
No, but Lillard just told us. He just said
yesterday he's staying.
He's staying. Bradley Beal wants out. He definitely
wants out.
Now,
I understand he wants out, but that doesn't mean
now
that
the Knicks have reached out to them. That's what the NBA Network has said. So if it ever does happen or it comes to fruition, who do the Knicks have to trade? And if the Knicks just have to trade RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, and 3 first-round draft picks. Let's say you throw Emmanuel quickly in there. 3 guys and 3 first. You're not going to make that trade? If you were the Knicks, you're not making that trade?
What was the third guy?
Quigley,
right?
Robinson, RJ Barrett, and 3 first rounds for Bradley Beal. You're not making that trade?
If I'm the Knicks, yes. If I'm the Wizards, I don't know.
Why not? You're getting RJ Barrett that's going to give you probably 20 points a game next year. You're getting Mitchell Robinson when healthy, a double-double. You're getting Quigley, I believe is going to be a very good NBA player. And you're getting 3 first-round draft picks. You're not making that trade? That's a lot.
That is a lot. But if you're the Knicks, why would you do that?
Because that makes you a championship competitive team. It does. Adding Bradley Beal to your team with
How
Kemba
many years
Walker.
does Beal have left?
3.
But all right, hear me out though. Right, Kemba gets hurt. You just traded quickly.
You have Derrick Rose.
All right, that's great. But you're relying on Derrick Rose's healthy needs.
Derrick Rose played well last year.
Yeah, Derrick Rose.
Not
You
what
also
I'm
added.
saying.
You also
Hold
have
on.
McBride. You also drafted McBride, who's a very good player.
I mean, a rookie running point scares me if you want to be a contender, but okay. I mean, the potential is definitely there. If anything goes wrong, though, you're giving up a ton of depth. A ton of depth.
A ton of depth. You're getting a superstar player.
I get that. And it puts you in the conversation because then, maybe Dame's like, hey, I want out now too. Like, I'll go play for the Knicks and my boy.
Right.
Like, I get it. I understand the positives of it. See, here's the thing with the Knicks, right? They're in this interesting conversation. They did this for Melo. They traded a lot to get Melo, and it didn't work. So I don't. Why?
When they got Melo, he was 32 years old.
I understand, but did it work?
What do you mean?
Did it work? The trade for Melo.
31, I think.
Did it work? No, it didn't.
No, but Melo is
Okay.
not. Bradley Beal isn't Melo. He's not. He's a wing defender. He can defend.
I understand.
And he can
He's
shoot.
better than Melo.
I don't know about that.
I would take Bradley Beal over Melo in their primes.
I don't
But that's
know about
fine.
that. I don't know about that.
Bradley Beal, Bradley Beal's defense alone sells me on him.
Melo has taken his team to the the Western Conference Championship. Bradley Beal has never taken his team to even a second round.
One had George Karl, one had Scott Brooks.
I'm sorry?
You're comparing George Karl to Scott Brooks?
That has nothing to do with George Karl. That has nothing to do with him.
You're also comparing the East and the West, though, too. The West has always been better.
Well, it has always been
Melo
better.
is a better
And
player than Bradley Beal.
Melo had a lot more help than Bradley Beal's had.
He at the top of his game. Melo is a Hall of Famer. We don't know what Bradley Beal is yet.
Bradley Beal's on pace to be a Hall of Famer.
Yes, but he's not a Hall of Fame yet. He's not a Hall of Famer yet.
I understand. But again, we're talking about this in current day. At the time, Melo was not a Hall of Famer when the Knicks traded for him. So,
No, not at the time.
Right.
But again,
Did Bradley Beal ever win a scoring title?
But Melo didn't fall off with the Knicks
Melo
until like
That's
2017 or
fine.
2018.
Listen,
or
I'm
something
not
like that.
saying it doesn't make sense. All I'm saying is the Knicks have done this before. It didn't work. Let the team grow. You don't know what this team can do. What if you don't need Bradley Beal and you win?
If you need another star.
You do. But what if
and
who's
they don't
the free
really
agent
have
class next year?
I mean, if they bring in Bradley Beal, who's the best player on the team?
Bradley Beal.
Okay, there. That was just the apple, but
Bradley Beal would be the best player on the Knicks. It wouldn't even be close. All I'm trying to say
all right,
is,
so if you have Bradley Beal and you add Bradley Beal, how could you not want to make that trade? Because you automatically make your team a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference.
I don't know about that.
Really?
I don't
They're
know
not better
about
than the 76ers? Yes.
As currently constructed,
they're better than the 76ers.
It depends on what you'd give up in the trade.
I
it depends
just
what
told you.
Miami would be better. Milwaukee would be better.
How is Miami better than the Knicks if they had Bradley Beal?
Because I think they're the deepest and most complete team in the East.
What makes them so deep? Who do they got?
They start with Kyle Lowry.
Okay.
Jimmy Butler.
Kyle Lowry, how old is Kyle Lowry?
They're probably about the same age as Derrick Rose.
Kyle Lowry's in his mid-30s.
Right.
Okay, Derrick Rose is 31, 32 years old.
But Kyle Lowry is also a lot more reliable than Derrick Rose.
Well, I don't know about that. What did Derrick Rose do last year? What did Kyle Lowry do last year?
And Kyle Lowry plays a hell of a better defense.
Actually, Derrick Rose played very well defensively last year in Thibodeau's defense. He was very good in Thibodeau's defense.
You're really going to say Kyle Lowry's not a better defender than Derrick Rose?
I didn't say that, but to say that he's that much better than Derrick Rose is a joke because Derrick Rose is
Kyle Lowry's the better defender. By a lot, not by much, but he
Kyle
is.
Lowry never won an MVP. I don't know why you would think that he's that much better than Derrick Rose.
Milwaukee.
Speedy,
If
you have the
wanna bring
numbers
up
yet? What's
MVPs,
going on over there?
Giannis's Bucks are still better.
What do we got?
That whole team is basically the
If Bradley Beal, fans out there, if Bradley Beal gets traded to the Knicks, they still keep, obviously, what's his name again? Their 6th man of the year, Randall.
The Nets?
Hold on 1 second. Randall, Beal, and Kemba Walker. Are they a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference?
Kyle Lowry last year
I'd
had
say
17.2 points a game, 5.4 rebounds, 7.3 assists. Rose, in not playing all the time either, had 14.7 points, 2.6 rebounds, and 4.2 assists. 86.6% free throw
And that's
shooter.
that's guy coming off the bench.
I understand that, but
okay, Go ahead.
That also helps
field goal percentage was
all right. We know where it is. We don't have to go
47.
We don't have to go through that. We don't have to go. And here's the facts. He's not much better. He's not much better than Derrick Rose.
But he fits the team.
Okay, just name the players because I'm not going to go back and forth and argue about something stupid that's going to take forever. Give me
So
Miami.
You got Kyle Lowry.
Yes.
Then you got either Duncan Robinson or Tyler Hero.
Okay.
Who
Tyler Hero took a step back last year. Go ahead.
That's fine, but when he's on, and Duncan Robinson
That doesn't
they're
matter.
both
He
lethal
wasn't good last year.
They have a shooter, and the Knicks don't, so that helps.
Doesn't matter.
Jimmy Butler is one of the best two-way
Bradley
players.
Beal isn't a shooter.
What?
Bradley Beal isn't a shooter.
My guy, the Knicks don't have him right now.
But I'm saying that if Bradley Beal was on the Knicks, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. All right. Yeah, that's a fair point. So then we got Hero and Robinson. Then you got Jimmy Butler, who would probably be guarding Bradley Beal if it came down to that.
Okay.
Jimmy Butler is one of the best two-way players in the
We're
league.
not arguing about that. Okay.
Then you got Bam Adebayo.
Okay.
And you add P.J. Tucker to that mix.
Oh, yeah. P.J. Tucker, great player.
It's not about great
old.
players.
He's
He's
old.
a fit.
He's old.
The Miami Heat are one of the best fitting teams in the league.
Okay, where did Miami end up last year?
5th seed, 6th seed.
Mm-hmm.
They got better though.
They did get better. They absolutely did get better. Are they that much? Their top three, are they, Speedy, honestly, their top three, are they better than the Knicks' top three, healthy?
The Knicks with Beal?
Yes.
No, but also factor in Miami could also trade too because they're in room.
That's not what I'm talking about. Constructed. If Beal goes to the Knicks, their top three against the Knicks' top three, who's better?
I would give the edge to the Knicks.
Okay. So
that's not even your real question. Is who's the best team in New York? Because the Nets bet.
That's fine. I'm not even arguing.
We're not arguing the Nets.
We're not arguing the Nets. The Nets are going to be one of the favorites, one of the top two favorites to come out of the
so
whole
you got
thing.
The Nets, the Bucks. I would say the Heat. Depending on what the Sixers do with Ben Simmons, the Sixers.
The Knicks are better than the Sixers. Go ahead.
Can you say that though?
They are. They are.
The only way the Sixers would be better if they get somehow
the Knicks were the fourth seed this year. They were the fourth seed. They're that much better. And they still have Fournier. Fournier.
Yeah, Fournier.
Fournier, who they brought in. Yeah. I mean, he's a very good player.
Another reason not to go get Beal.
I don't know about that.
They play the same position.
Bradley, no, they don't.
Fournier could be a 3.
He's much more of a 3. He's more of a bigger.
Fournier, but all right.
Fournier is 6'8" right now.
Right, he's a good 3.
He's more of a 3. He's not a 2. Bradley Beal's a 2.
I would put Beal at 3, but that's just me.
Whatever. The fact is, the Knicks are a better team on paper. That's what I would say. And what is Snug saying? The Nets, Bucks, Heat, Sixers, the Hornets, Celtics, all better than New York. Okay.
Celtics.
The Celtics are better. The Celtics are better than the Knicks if they get Bradley Beal? No way. No way. They barely made the playoffs with the team that they had.
Without Jaylen Brown.
Okay. Jaylen Brown played a lot of the season.
He did, but when
he
it came down to it,
he didn't play well. He didn't play well the whole season. He didn't. And again, they needed some pieces they didn't add. They subtracted, actually. So how much better? The Knicks are better than the Celtics. They're better than the Hornets. The Hornets aren't
way better than the Hornets.
The Hornets aren't even making the playoffs. Okay.
Markieff Morris. I forgot they added Markieff Morris.
The Sixers, the Sixers, they're probably going to lose Ben Simmons. They're worse. The Heat's better. The Bucks are the same, but I think the Bucks are going to take steps back.
The Sixers
are
going
to worse.
The only way the Sixers
they lost PJ Tucker.
The only way the Sixers would be better if they traded for Damian Lillard and potentially swap Ben Simmons.
Honestly, the Knicks should be the 3rd seed out of all these teams. You want to argue the Nets, the Heat, and then the Knicks.
The Hawks' big 3 are not better than the Knicks if the Knicks get Bradley
hold on
Beal.
here. They had the same record, so you can't say that.
No, if the Knicks get Bradley Beal, the Hawks' big
didn't
3
get better.
are not.
The Hawks didn't get better. They didn't.
But they're a young team that would have another season under their belt together.
And the Knicks got
better. But if the Knicks get Bradley Beal, they're
you
still
want to do that.
And the Knicks got a guy, if Kemba Walker stays healthy, can go shot for shot with their best players. They 2 black guys that could go shot for shot.
Listen, the Knicks. Then you have a lot of reason as a Knicks fan to be very excited about getting Bradley Beal.
I'm not saying Bradley Beal is going to be a Knick.
I'm
saying that is a rumor.
It's very exciting to hear that Bradley Beal and the Knicks are in. I get it. I understand.
NBA.com has come out with a story that the Knicks reached out to the Wizards and that they're willing to make a trade with them. And I think the Wizards are going to trade Bradley Beal. I do. I mean, why keep him? He doesn't want to be there, and they're not ready to win now.
Ben says Knicks receive Beal and Gill, whoever that is. Wizards receive Obi Toppin, Emmanuel Quickley, Kevin Knox, first round pick in 2022, 2023 first round of Dallas's,
Toppin and Knox are the
2024,
same guy.
and 26 first round is the
Wow, that's a
rumor
lot.
right now.
That's a lot.
No, I think
He gave up nothing.
No, Ben. I don't think Ben
That's
was
a
giving.
rumor.
I don't think Ben
That's a
was
rumor.
giving up. Yeah, I don't
That's a
think
rumor that he heard.
That's awful. If that's the asking price, that's awful.
For who? Yeah, you got to speak up, Tyler.
That's an awful trade.
For who?
For the Knicks.
How is that an awful trade for the Knicks?
For the Knicks to give up to the Wizards.
That's a great trade for the Knicks.
If the Wizards accept that, the Wizards should be disbanded as an NBA team.
Well, if that's a rumor, that's a great
Toppin
trade for
and
the
Knox
Knicks.
are the same guy.
All right.
So you're like, what are you doing?
Toppin's a lot better than Knox is.
No,
as a
that's not what I'm
prospect.
saying,
As a
Speedy.
prospect.
But they're the same type of player. There's no way in hell.
The only problem with
There's
that,
no way
and
in
Jeff
hell.
would come out and say that you need to give up a player that's getting as much with the NBA rules. So they're going to have to give up a player that's going to make somewhere as close as Bradley Beal. So who out there that they can trade, that they could bring in, that they could trade away, that makes somewhere around that.
They'd have to get a third team involved or something like that.
Yes, that's what I think would happen.
Yeah.
They'd have to get a third team involved with this. So, I mean, NBA.com has come out and say that the Knicks are the favorites. If the Wizards are willing to trade Bradley Beal, the Knicks are the favorites of getting him. So, Kemba Walker. Now, fans out there, if the Knicks land Bradley Beal, besides the Nets, do the Knicks have the second best trio with Kemba Walker healthy, Bradley Beal, and obviously Julius Randle going into the season in the beginning of the season? I would love to know, the fan. Speedy, I want you to put up a poll. If the Knicks land Bradley Beal, that's the question, and you put the top three and all the top 5 teams in the Eastern Conference, their top 3, are the Knicks the second best trio in the Eastern Conference? Because that's a good question if they land Bradley Beal. And the Knicks have depth still. They still have depth. If they trade that trade, they have Mitchell Robinson. They still have McBride, Derrick Rose, Kemba Walker, Fournier, all these different guys that they have. They're 1,000 times better than they were last year, and they were 4th seed last year in the Eastern Conference. You're talking about Eastern Conference Eastern Conference championship competitive team. Now, I don't think they're better than the Nets, but again, the Nets don't have any depth.
I think you're forgetting Milwaukee.
And Carl says the Sixers' top 3 is better. Now, we're talking about Ben Simmons being gone, and more than likely Ben Simmons will be gone. So, honestly,
I don't know. It's getting really close.
If Ben Simmons is gone, who's their top 3? Who's their top 3?
Yeah, Embiid, Tobias Harris. Yeah. And then you're going to get somebody back.
Yes, but they're not going to get a top player.
So unless they trade for Damian Lillard, they're not going to get anyone worthwhile this year.
Yeah. So what? Their top 3 is not better than the Knicks if they get Bradley Beal.
But currently constructed, their top 3 might be.
You know, now he's saying true. So honestly, if you talk about Ben Simmons is gone, he's as good as gone. They're not keeping him. They're not. They've been trying to move him. They're trying to get a lot back. They want a ton of draft picks. So they're willing to trade Ben Simmons for a ton of draft picks. And honestly, even if Ben Simmons is there, is Ben Simmons better? Is Ben Simmons better than Julius Randle? Is Ben Simmons better than Bradley Beal? Is Ben Simmons better than Kemba Walker?
Yes.
Really?
Ben Simmons is better than
Kemba Walker last year
Ben
on
Simmons'
a bad
defense alone is better than Kemba.
No question defensively. Kemba Walker's a better all-around offensive player than him. So is Kemba is he that much better than Kemba Walker? And really,
this is what I don't like about NBA fans, right? We praise LeBron because LeBron's biggest asset is his vision and staying the floor. That's literally what Ben Simmons is.
Pretty damn good defensive player.
Who?
Over the years? LeBron James.
All right. I'm not getting in this conversation anymore.
Oh, you don't think he is?
You just said Ben Simmons' defense in disregard to Kemba Walker was not enough to outweigh Kemba.
All right, let's put we have
vision.
another caller. Who are we speaking to?
K-Dog.
What's going on, bud?
What's up? I want to call and talk about this Jake Paul-Tyrone Woodley fight.
Absolutely.
This weekend, I got to say, the hardcore boxing fans, they're really not liking this. They're throwing a fit because they're thinking this Jake Paul kid's coming in, getting all this attention, headlining cards. The purists are mad. But my take is this: I don't care about Jose Ramirez, who doesn't even speak English. Couldn't point him out on a wall, a group of people, but they want me to be invested in this guy who doesn't say shit, doesn't get me invested. Obviously, they're great boxers, but you got to bring more to the table than just good boxing, in my opinion, because there's a lot of good boxers, and I like to be invested emotionally. I want to know why, and that's what Jake Paul's bringing. He's bringing some hype. He's bringing some drama. And I am not ashamed to say that I like it. I like the drama. I like
So
the
you
trash
think
talk.
this is good for boxing for Jake Paul? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if it's good or not. I really don't know.
Because
I like
my friend is a purist for boxing. He loves Jake Paul, thinking that Jake Paul. He knows I can't stand Jake Paul, and that I think he's a moron.
So naturally, he disagrees with
So
you.
no, but he says he's naturally powerful, and you can't teach natural power. And he thinks that being that he has the natural power, he can step in the ring and knock anybody out, which is fine. But if he doesn't have the technique, are you really going to sit there and say he's a boxer? He's more of a street fighter. So maybe he should get into an MMA ring or an MMA octagon. To
He's
me,
not that dumb.
it's not. It doesn't. It actually, as a purist, and I'm a big boxing fan, and I root for boxing more than MMA. If you listen to me and Anthony Anderosi, when we decaged in MMA, and I'm actually bringing it back, the MMA show. Anthony right now is on leave and with everything that's gone on, so he won't be doing the show with me. But thinking about, and by the way, Speedy, you have the wrong skin up for me on this show, just so you know. Again, so that shows you, that's terrible, Speedy, by the way. Thank you. My elite producer over here, again, screws up again. Anyways, to go back to this. I look at the big picture for boxing. This doesn't help boxing. It doesn't. It puts boxing in a situation where Jake Paul and Tyrone Woodley, he's a joke. He shouldn't be opening his mouth. And to me, he's selling everything with this boxing thing. His whole mom thing and everything like that. It's a crock of you-know-what. That he has nothing. Him fighting with it. It's just trying to put fannies in the seats and sell more tickets. That's all it's doing. So, again, I wonder... When you look at boxing and the purist of boxing, is this really helping the game? Is it helping the boxing world? The answer is no. So I don't know how you could sit here and say that this is good. He's a great marketer. He's a great salesman. There's no question. Conor McGregor is a great marketer, great salesman. Is he a great boxer? No, he's not anymore.
Not anymore, but in his prime he was.
Yeah, but he was in his prime a year ago, 2 years ago.
No, I get it.
He's not in his prime.
Jake Paul's not there yet.
What do you mean he's not there?
He's not a great fighter at all.
He's never going to be a great fighter.
All right, then. So why are we paying money to watch him fight?
Well, because he's a marketer. He's a YouTube sensation.
That's fine. But like you said, if you really want to be a street fighter, get in the cage. You know why he won't get in the cage? Because he'll get embarrassed in the cage. Embarrassed.
He'll get embarrassed in a boxing ring against a real boxer.
I understand. I get it.
He's fighting nobody. Tyrone Woodley, I mean, he's an all-world wrestler. He's not a boxer.
Right. I get it. But see, what Jake's really trying to do is Jake wants McGregor.
No, what Jake's trying to do is he's taking his fans, his YouTube, and he knows that he has a very good chance of beating Tyrone Woodley and knocking Tyrone Woodley out. And because he's a fighter and he was a champion in MMA, he wants to shut down the MMA, the MMA fans. So what he's trying to do is knock out these MMA fighters, even though they're not good boxers, and say, you know what? This is the best the MMA world can give. I'll knock you all out. And that's where it's coming. And Carl, you don't have to leave. I just wanted to, we have a fan that's calling up and I want to answer the question. So Carl, don't leave. We're going to get back into the basketball situation. But, that's where I have with this fight. I think it's a joke.
Yeah, I hear you on that point. The thing with boxing is they don't got a lot of credibility anyways. They've hurt themselves so much that for them to come and try to blame Jake Paul or something, they got no room to talk with all their controversies and this belt system, the promotions, the sanctioning bodies. it's just complete corruption.
Kev,
So,
let's go off this. We were just talking about basketball, and I know you're a basketball fan. If the Knicks land Bradley Beal, are the Knicks the second best trio in the Eastern Conference?
let's see the Knicks.
Kemba Walker, Beal, and Randall. Okay. We all know about James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant. That's number one. We all know that. So you look at all the good teams in the Eastern Conference right now.
I don't know. Kemba Walker, he hasn't been impressing me these past couple of years.
No, last year, he came off a knee injury. His first year with the Celtics was really good. He was an all-star player. He had 24. He was averaging 24 points a game before he hurt his knee at the end of the season the year before, and that was his first year with the Celtics. So
if he can get back to his all-star form, that is definitely a top contender in the East.
Yeah, but are they the second best trio in the Eastern Conference? That's my question. Because Tyler doesn't think that they are. He thinks Miami's trio is better. He thinks that the Bucks trio is better. Which who are their trio? I mean,
Holiday, Middleton, Giannis.
Yeah.
That's the second best big three in the East.
I don't think so.
Well, of course you will.
No, I don't think so. I mean,
they just won an NBA championship, so you should think.
Okay. If Kemba's at the highest game, is Holiday better than Kemba Walker?
Yes.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
He's
not, Tyler.
They're the same level point guard.
Tyler, he's not.
They're the same level of point
No,
guard.
they're not.
You're crazy.
Kemba Walker has been a 4 or 5 time All-Star. How many times has Drew Holiday been in the All-Star game? Once?
I mean, he went to New Orleans. It was an
Once?
afterthought, and you know the All-Star game.
I know,
the
but
All-Star game is completely relative.
He
to where
wasn't
you
a
play.
top. Kemba Walker at one point was a top 5 point guard in the league.
Well, I love Kemba
Drew
Walker.
Holiday ever a top 5 point guard?
Drew Holiday has been a very
Was he
solid
ever a
top 10 point
top
guard,
5?
Yes. He was
point
top
guard?
10 point guard.
But was he a
prime.
top 5?
I would argue Kemba was never top 5.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
The Knicks might not even have a better trio than the Hawks. I mean, you see what Julius
they
Randle
do.
did in the playoffs last year. They
got one player. The Hawks got one player.
John Collins and
John Collins is
Clint
no.
Capella would love to have a word with
So
him.
Collins is
Right
better
now,
than Randall.
No.
Trey Young is.
Randall.
Yeah, Trey Young. Yes, he is. It's one player.
I understand that. But
Trio.
I understand, but Trey Young is the best of the three.
Is Trey Young better than Bradley Beal? That much better than Bradley Beal?
He's better than Bradley Beal.
By a little, but not by much.
No, I didn't say by much, but he's better.
Maybe.
So it would be Trey Young then Beal. I mean, to me, John Collins and Randall are probably even.
Oh, you're on drugs. No.
And then whoever,
Kemba
Kemba Walker is last of the 6.
No, he's not.
Errol, you gotta let this Nick thing go, man.
Kemba
Walker is not better than John Collins or Clint Capella.
Capella's a one-dimensional player.
So is Kemba Walker.
No.
Stop.
Not at his peak. If he's healthy.
His peak is gone.
We don't know that.
What do you mean? He's 31 years old. His peak is gone? Dude, he averaged 19 points a game.
Dude, does a playoff NBA team ever give up on a star point guard when there's nothing wrong
Yes,
with
when
them?
they overpaid for him and they didn't think he fit their offense. Yes, they do.
Or he's not healthy.
John
can't
Collins
play anymore.
averaged 17. His career average is 16.6 a game, okay? John Collins, all right? Kemba Walker, all right? I'll go. Kemba Walker's career is 20 points a game. Career.
Errol, you're
20
going
points a
into
game.
this season.
Last year,
you have to be realistic about this.
All right. Last season, he averaged 19.3, and his career is 19.9. So how do you say that? What difference
the
is
Celtics
he?
gave up on him, and then the team that the Celtics traded him to cut him.
Okay. Are you
cut him?
Does this sink into your head? They need a big man. That's what they need. So I'm going to go back to this. If they need a big man and they're paying Kemba Walker over $130 million, okay, what are they going to do? They're going to try to get rid of that contract because they want to open up next year's offseason where they can get a big man and a third guy that can fit their offense. Now, Kemba Walker, career, averages 19 points. Last year averaged 19.3. Just listen, 19.3, 4 rebounds a game, and 4.9 assists a game. His career, 20 points a game, 3.8 rebounds a game, 5.4 assists a game. Kemba Walker didn't have a bad year. He really didn't. At the 3-point line, almost 40%, and a field goal percentage 42. last year, the only thing with Kemba Walker is staying healthy. Kemba Walker is better than Collins, much better than Collins. And for you to think that, not to think that John Collins has never been an all-star. He's never been a top player. He's not even a top player at his position.
John Collins.
Here's the problem right here is the guys in the Knicks, they haven't done anything. They're not winning. Kemba Walker hasn't won anything. Bradley Beal hasn't won anything. Julius Randle hasn't won anything. They're not proven. Julius Randle choked in the playoffs last year. He was bricking up everything. The dude was clanking the rim every shot he took.
Okay, so hold on one second. He forced shots first of all, and so you're telling me John Collins is better than Julius Randle? Is that what you're saying?
Me?
No, I'm talking to him, Kevin. You think John Collins?
Randle,
I'm asking you a question.
It's hard to compare.
No, it's not hard to compare. You're actually going to sit here and tell me, and I like you. You're going to actually tell me that John Collins is anywhere close to Julius Randle.
I don't know. That playoffs left a bad taste in my mouth the way he performed. But throughout the season, he had a way better season. He definitely looked like the better player. But in that playoffs, man, the dude just folded.
Yeah, he folded, and that could be a problem. Maybe he was tired. Maybe he was injured. Who knows what it was? But to say that John Collins is better than Julius Randle is a joke. Now, John Collins better than Kemba Walker. Two different positions. Who would you take at a healthy Kemba Walker? And he's saying he's 100% healthy, and his numbers last year were almost identical to his career numbers. Who are you taking, Kemba Walker or John Collins?
Healthy Kemba Walker. Okay. You're right.
Okay.
You're right.
So hold on. What player is ever going to say I'm not healthy?
Kemba Walker, even when he wasn't fully healthy last year, had almost the same identical numbers as his career numbers. So Kemba Walker really didn't have a bad season last year. He really didn't.
I've never seen a good player coming off a good season that was healthy get cut by a team that traded for him as a salary dump.
Did you not listen
to common sense, Errol. I know it's not often that you have that going for you, but just please. Just try to use common sense.
Barry Sanders, compare Barry Sanders to Saquon Barkley.
And here's the lack of common sense.
Your common sense is ridiculous.
Here comes the lack of common sense once again to come to fruition almost immediately. I said he looked like, and you agreed about 3 minutes ago that he does look like multiple players have looked like. So quite frankly, I didn't really say anything that outlandish. But hey,
you could look like it, even putting him in the same name as Barry Sanders is blasphemy.
What did you try to say the first time?
Shut
blasphemy?
Up. Blasphemy. You don't even know what it means. So what do you
Do you know what it means?
Yes, I do. You don't.
Tell me what it means.
What do you mean blasphemy? Crazy, stupid. That's what blasphemy is.
All right, then.
Yeah.
So
all right. I bet you didn't know that.
Well, I mean, Stephen A. Smith is probably going to roll over, but that's fun.
Right. Come on, just settle down.
Oh, we are settled down. I'm trying to get to a point here, and everything that I said. And listen, this has nothing to do with being a Knicks fan. This has nothing to do with arguing back and forth till the show is over. The answer is, honestly, if Bradley Beal goes to the Knicks, Kemba Walker is healthy, and Julius Randle is the same player he was last year, which I believe he will be, the Knicks have the second best trio in the Eastern Conference. It's not even an argument. And for anybody to argue that, it's stupid. It's dumb because it's true. And why wouldn't the Knicks do this if they can make that trade? Like Ben says, if that trade does go through or it's somewhere around that trade, that's a good trade for the Knicks. That's a great trade for the Knicks. Why wouldn't the Knicks do that? Speedy, would you do that if you were Nick?
Yeah, of course.
Tyler, you wouldn't do that if the
Knicks you're the Knicks, that's highway robbery. If you're the Wizards, you should be disowned from the NBA.
They're getting 3 first-round draft picks.
Obi Toppin.
Obi Toppin, who was a first-round draft pick a year ago.
That's fantastic because first-round draft picks in the NBA are.
And I think Obi Toppin's going to have a great year.
Yeah, so why are you worried about trading them then?
Quigley, who's a first-round draft pick.
So first of all,
Kevin Knox, who was a first-round draft pick.
This guy likes to chime in when he feels like it. Do you have anything intelligent to say right now?
Speedy's talking.
Oh, I thought you were talking to Kevin.
No. I'm talking to you.
Oh,
I
was saying, why are you if NBA first round picks are not valuable? Why are you worried about trading?
If you're the Wizards, are you trade because you need something back for future compensation?
By God, that's a lot.
By God, what are you supposed to do?
The Wizards are rebuilding as it is.
All right, good. So how do you rebuild an NBA team that people don't want to go sign to?
By drafting well.
All right, then. So what are you supposed to? What do you mean draft picks aren't? Please.
So why are you worried if you're the
because
if you're
the Knicks aren't going to give me Randall for him?
If you're the Knicks, why are you worried about?
No, I'm saying for the Wizards. For the Wizards, you need drafts back. For the Knicks, I don't care about drafts.
Okay.
If I'm the Wizards, draft picks have to be in there. They have to be. You know they're going to be a lottery
giving
team.
them 3.
I understand. Right. But player-wise, it's a steal. It's highway robbery. Obi Toppin is a first-round pick. We get it. We've never seen a first-round bust before in the NBA. Whoop-de-doo-dah. Kevin Knox is a first-round bust right now. And then there's Quickly.
Who's good? He's a great player.
Quickly, he's fine. The fact that R.J. Barrett's name's not in that trade is an absolute joke. Absolute joke.
R.J. Barrett
and Mitchell Robinson has to be in there. Honestly, I'd rather take Barrett and Robinson in the 3 picks.
All right, if you trade, if let's say R.J. Barrett goes in there and they R.J. Barrett, Obi Toppin, Quickly, and 3 first-round draft picks, they still have a ridiculous team. The Knicks they still have the best trio, the second best trio.
I don't agree with that statement.
Second best trio in the Eastern Conference. There's nobody besides the Nets. There's nobody else. I'm telling you, the Bucks aren't.
The Bucks are not better as a trio. They're a deeper team.
They're a deeper team.
They're not a better
that
trio.
I don't even know if they're a deeper team
NBA
anymore.
Finals.
With Fournier over there, with Evan Fournier over there.
We'll see how the rookies are, but I think Milwaukee's depth. We saw how good they were. How good they were. So until the Knicks prove it,
and if they don't trade R.J. Barrett, in that trade,
if the Wizards don't get R.J. Barrett in that trade,
if R.J. Barrett's there, I could say that the Knicks have the best 4 in the Eastern Conference. They have the best 4.
How are you going to blatantly disrespect the Bucks like that?
The Bucks don't have the better four team. If the Knicks have RJ Barrett,
the Bucks are depth oriented. They're not really that.
If the Knicks land, if they get Bradley Beal, if the Knicks have,
that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard you say. He's an MVP. What do you mean they're depth oriented? If Giannis left that team, they wouldn't have won an NBA Finals.
Of course,
no question.
All right then. So what do you mean they're depth oriented? The team would have been just as deep.
They wouldn't have beaten the Nets without depth.
That's true.
They wouldn't have beaten the Suns without depth.
So you're telling me that team, that big 3 didn't outplay the Nets big 3? Because it was Kevin Durant basically by himself.
Big 3.
Right, it was Durant by himself.
They really didn't have a big 3.
All right then.
Kyrie and Harden were out.
Right.
Now you're right. I would trust Middleton and Drew Holiday in the playoffs over Harden because Harden's terrible. But
right, and he's saying the Nets had the best big 3. So clearly, that Buck big 3 you just said you had more faith in. So how could the Nets
collectively, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are still better than Middleton, who's a streaky playoff player, and Drew Holiday, who's been a streaky.
And what I'm
player.
saying is, if the Knicks don't have to trade R.J. Barrett in a trade, and you have Kemba Walker, Beal, Randall, and R.J. Barrett, with all 4 of those players, the Knicks have the best top 4 players on a team in that whole Eastern Conference. They do. They do.
I think the Miami Heat starting 5 is the best in the East. I'm just putting that out there now.
I don't.
I know you don't, but
straight up. All right, guys.
Thanks, bro. Kev. And by the way, watch. Don't be surprised. If Tyrone Woodley wins, he's going to have to knock him out in the first 3 rounds. If it goes past 3 rounds, Jake Paul wins on a knockout or just goes to decision, which there's no decision, and they're just going to be talking.
You gotta admit this. To go from Nate Robinson, who's never fought a day in his life, Ben Askren, who has the worst hands in all of MMA, to Tyron Woodley, a dude who starched Robbie Lawler, who's got devastating knockouts on his resume. That's a step up in competition. You got to give him credit for that.
He hasn't beaten anybody. Woodley is not a stand-up fighter. Let him fight a real boxer. Put him in a ring with a real boxer. He beats a real boxer, then we can talk. He hasn't beaten anybody. Fight a real boxer.
He dropped Darren Till.
Who?
He put Darren Till down.
Darren Till. Darren Till.
Darren Till, who's top 5 middleweight right now.
Are you on drugs?
You got to look at what he did to Robbie Lawler.
Robbie
he destroyed Robbie Lawler.
Robbie
with one
Lawler.
punch.
Robbie Lawler. Woodley.
A legend.
Robbie Lawler is an old man. He is an old man.
He was the champion.
Yeah,
he was a champion. At the time.
Robbie Lawler is like 80 years old. Okay, he's fighting. He's an old man, and who keeps coming in?
Mark.
So tell Mark to come in. What the hell is he doing?
He was setting up his camera. It was.
Anyways, Kev,
We're
watch
gonna
it.
Agree to disagree.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. I don't know why you love Jake Paul so much, and why everybody's such a Jake Paul lover. I don't. What has he done?
You know why I like him?
Why?
Because he doesn't give a rat's. You know what? Unlike his brother, Logan Paul, who's bending over backwards to be politically correct and oh, I don't want to make anybody angry because of my history. Jake Paul doesn't give a F. So he throws it in their faces and watch everybody gets mad. I like that. In this day and age, that's refreshing. That's why I like Jake Paul.
All right. That's
But I'll leave you to it.
respectable. Thank you, Kev. Thanks for calling the show, and I love you as a fan, man. Thank you.
Love you guys too. Take it easy.
Kev from Chicago. Nice kid. Always nice. Gives us some good insight. Where's Mark?
He's in and out right now. I'm probably
Tell
an
him to wake
internet
up.
issue.
Man. Tell him to wake up. But go ahead.
Is that him?
Is he
Yep,
in?
looks like we got him.
All right. Mark.
Hey guys, sorry.
What's going on, bud?
We lost power here about 5 minutes ago. So
why is it bad weather over there?
No.
He's like, no.
It's just weird things happening down here.
How are you feeling?
How am I feeling? Tired. I've been substitute teaching every day of the week, and then doing work at the studio at night. So yeah, I've been learning a lot more about high school football down here. I saw a great game last week with a couple of sophomores that looked really, really good. Just some of the other schools around here that are like you would never know that they even had like people that went to these places, but you got some really good athletes down here. And high school football is like it's just as big as like college or pro football is up north in the Northeast. So being around there and going to the games, because every Friday I'll go to the game and I take a guy with me, and then he'll shoot the video, and then we'll have to get the highlights, and then we'll have to go back to the studio. Then we have to edit it, and then we have to prepare it for the show because they do a special show called Pigskin Roundup on Friday. So yeah,
how's Gerard doing?
Yeah, he's doing good. Yeah, he's really good, and he is like I love working with him, but he's really good at what he does. So, and now he's in me and him are more in roles where we have to take a show that was really good, and they had like that Pigskin Roundup was their best show,
right?
And the guy who knows the most, this guy John Holder, knows like so much about high school football, more than anybody in the state of Alabama. They didn't renew his contract. So John has his own show now, and we kind of had to rebuild everything on the show that I mean, they won like Emmy Awards and everything for the quality of what they did. And, John's a great guy, and we'll probably wind up working for him someday. But right now we're trying to rebuild a show that was very successful. So what everybody sees now isn't what they saw before. So we had to put new elements in it. We added some things, and I don't co-host it with them because I don't know enough yet of high school football. But they got a girl to co-host it with them who doesn't really say much yet because she's kind of shy, whatever. But hopefully that'll go better. And then in like a week or so, once I really get warmed up with knowing more about the high school teams down here, then I'll be able to have my own segment on it.
All right. So why don't we go into, Speedy, you got some music. You got some
about
stuff.
the Mets.
You want the football music?
No, we're gonna go into some football conversation with you because obviously you're a football guy. And
Right. But can I just get some on the Mets? Because I really want to rip apart. I really want to rip apart the Mets. Because the Mets, the reason why the Mets want the Mets is because somehow they've managed to have a assortment of soft tissue injuries that happen every year. The same type of soft tissue injuries, and they've tried to address it, but it just doesn't matter. So to go from 4 games up on August 1st to 8 games back now, in a blink of an eye, and your best pitcher DeGrom doesn't pitch. Lindor and Baez, I don't know why they got Baez because he's opposite of what they need, a low on base percentage guy who's not really slugging for much now to make any contact. And their starters overall, if you've seen Walker and Stroman, the two of them have won, I think, 2 games since the beginning of July after doing really well in the first half. So it just speaks to the Mets' inability to have depth, the inability to be able to adjust to changes. Atlanta's had the same issues. I mean, they lost their best player in Acuna, and They've had multiple injuries on their pitching staff, losing Soraka. Their bullpen was a disaster, but they made real deals at the deadline. If you notice the guys they got, like Duvall and Soler, those guys have driven runs and scored runs. You know, they might not hit for an average, but they're productive. And then the other thing you should look at is their infield. They have 4 guys that could hit 30 home runs. That's never been done before in Major League Baseball. So, you know, you could hate the Braves, and I certainly don't like the Braves at all, having to report on them. But the Braves are a pretty good organization, and they made the right moves at the deadline. The Mets didn't, but the Mets never do. They always shortchange their fans. They always do the cheap thing. And you would think that they would do more now with
Baez
Cohen.
wasn't a cheap move.
What's that?
Baez isn't cheap.
Yeah.
It's wrong, but it wasn't cheap.
Well, describe cheap. Cheap as in not getting enough. Cheap as in maybe getting a player, but not really fitting their needs. So, yeah, maybe not cheap, but like stupid or not exactly looking at what their needs are and getting something that's going to help them improve. Because Baez was just the wrong fit. And you could see it now. Now he's a free agent, isn't he? I mean, didn't they just – and the guy they traded him for, Crow Armstrong, was maybe he's not Jared Kelnick, but he's going to be a pretty good prospect, and that's what they didn't want to do. I feel for Mets fans. I really do. And it's just another season that they look like they were going to do something, and now this is, I mean, they could wind up like 10, 15 games out of first place by the end of the year. Anyway, I said my piece.
All right, so we're gonna get into some NFL stuff as well with Mark. Here we go.
All right, first question I have for you, Mark, and you can bring the music down just a little bit.
I love the music.
What are your thoughts to Zach Wilson, his first 2 preseason games? Is he for real? And I know it's preseason, but what you've seen, is he for real? And should Jet fans be excited?
I like his ability to get outside the pocket and his ability to find receivers. And it seems like he can improvise pretty well. Now, again, preseason, look, we saw Browning Nagel look good in preseason once upon a time. So you can't really put that much into it. But I thought him and Justin Fields have looked the best of all the quarterbacks taken in the draft. Obviously, Mac Jones has looked pretty good too, but you figured he would with the system he was in. And Trevor Lawrence has really got nothing to work with. So he hasn't really looked. He's looked about as he should look, but Wilson's definitely looked the best of all those guys. You know, with his performance last week, I thought that Justin Fields, with his first performance in his preseason game, where after he the first couple possessions he fumbled and looked bad, he recovered really well. So going into last week's start, I thought Fields had an advantage. But after week 2, I would say probably Wilson's better. And for 2 starts, Wilson's a little better than Fields, but there's really not that much. If they don't start Justin Fields, they'll be making a mistake, the Bears.
All right. So the Jets right there with Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Are you surprised that the Jets have been jinxed? They lost their 2 pass rushers. Vinny Curry is out for the season, might be out career-wise with his blood situation.
Yep.
And then obviously Carl Lawson rupture Achilles tendon. What are your thoughts to that? What should the Jets do? Should they go through free agency? Should they make a trade? Where do you think the Jets and Joe Douglas go?
Yeah, I mean, Carl Lawson is a guy who graduated from Auburn, and he had been productive at Cincinnati, but never really was able to make tackles. But you always saw him in the backfield when you looked at film. The guy was always back there. He was always in position to make a play. And his body was kind of awkward, but he was beating Becton time after time after time in practice before he got hurt. That's a huge, huge loss. I feel really bad for him because he had put so much into it, and the Jets kind of built their whole offseason around him. And so to see that happen to a guy who's really put in time, and this was like his turn to really take over and become a star. I feel bad for him. To say of the Jets curse, no, it's just the Jets, you know? I mean, things happen. Curry's a guy who I thought could fit in well, but he's kind of, 33 years old, and he's kind of seen the best days. But he would have been a good fit, assuming that they had other guys and they played him in a rotation. Not enough to do it by himself, but I think that, those guys you can't just replace. You can't, certainly not Lawson. You're not going to find another guy like Lawson. So, to replace him with somebody as a free agent or a trade isn't really a realistic possibility. They can continue to add to depth and make sure that they just have guys coming in and out that maybe can take advantage of, say, the system. But they're not going to get a guy who can consistently rush the passer and cause havoc like Lawson would.
All right, you look at the AFC, surprise team in the AFC going into the season, and who do you think is taking a step back this year in the AFC? Are the Patriots a contender if Mac Jones takes over the team as the starting quarterback?
I think the Patriots are a contender because they made some really good moves, notwithstanding Mac Jones. I thought all the offseason moves that Belichick made, they have quality depth, and it seems like he brought in the guys that he likes. The only thing that kind of worries me a little bit is that when he's brought in really good free agents before, like when he brought in Moss or Welker, they put up good numbers, but they didn't win. And then even like with Adalius Thomas, it seems like when he has good players like that, it doesn't always lead to ultimate Super Bowl success. But, I think that they'll be better than they were last year. And I think they'll be in a position to where maybe they can challenge Buffalo, depending on how quickly that Mac Jones develops. As far as teams taking a step back, maybe Baltimore might be in that position if Jackson doesn't continue to play well. He's had really great regular seasons, and that's not really the question behind him. It's his postseason inability. So maybe I would look at Baltimore in that sense in a really strong division. The Browns, I think, are going to be better. Pittsburgh is kind of in that position as well. Maybe I would put them there too, as falling off the radar a bit. And I mean, Cincinnati is going to be, it's going to be who they are. So, I think Cleveland really is a team to beat in that division. And the South, maybe I like Tennessee, Baltimore, Indianapolis. I could see taking a step back because they don't have Phillip Rivers, who, we know he's not a big play guy or a guy who's going to be successful at the end of a game, but he'll win regular season games for you. So I would say probably either Baltimore, Pittsburgh as teams that might slip a little bit as far as what they did last year.
What about the quarterbacks that are on the fringe right now with Justin Fields, with Trey Lance, with Mac Jones, guys like that, or even some of the teams with veteran quarterbacks like the Saints, like the Broncos, teams like that? Who do you think wins a lot of those QB battles? Could you see a lot of those rookies doing well right away?
Well, I mean, and not in a rookie battle, but I think Jameis Winston is better, and I think he's developing more into the Saints system. If he can, all he's got to do is cut down on his interceptions. I mean, it's easier said than done. But if you remember when Vinny Testaverde came to the Jets, or even before that when he went to the Ravens, I mean, he threw 35 interceptions one year, 13 touchdowns, 35 interceptions. So, and he turns into a pretty good player. So I think Winston has that capability. All that matters is how comfortable he gets within that offense. So I think he's going to win there. When you look at the Bears situation, I would go with Fields. I don't care what else they have there. Fields is the future. He's a guy that looked a lot similar to what Lamar Jackson can do, which is if you don't have it there on a pass, just his ability to get outside the pocket and run for yards until the defense figures it out and takes that away from him. I think he's going to be really effective if he can complete, say, 63 or 64% of his passes. I think he's going to do really well his rookie year. Obviously, Mac Jones is going to win out there. And who else did you ask me about now?
The Broncos, Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock.
Yeah, look, Bridgewater is a guy that had a great career ahead of him, got injured. Another guy the Jets let come in and just let him go. And every other place, including Carolina, didn't really seem that he was part of their their future, kind of like Tyrone Taylor, the guy who was with Baltimore, with the made the playoffs with the Bills, and he went to the Chargers, and it's like everywhere he seems to go,
Cleveland too with Baker.
Yeah, everywhere he seems to go, he's preparing for the next guy. So I think you could probably say the same thing about having a brain freeze here. What team were we talking about?
The Broncos.
Yeah, the Broncos. You could say the same thing about Bridgewater. Is that Bridgewater was in places where it looked like he could be the starter, and then something would happen where he'd lose his job, and then he's looking for another team. But Bridgewater can play, and I think he should definitely play for the Broncos. I don't like Locke as much as I like Bridgewater. There's no choice between the two. I think Bridgewater's still young enough, athletic enough, and I think he's really hungry to get back and show that he's better than people think he is. And because of that injury, he has a lot to prove.
Mark, you mentioned the Saints real quick. Obviously, Drew Brees' leadership is no longer there. Michael Thomas has clearly already shown that. Do you think Michael Thomas does get traded? Because Jameis Winston's going to need him. If Jameis Winston has any success this season, he's going to need Michael Thomas to get open. If the Saints trade Michael Thomas, I think there's a rebuild in place. Do you think that too, or you just think Michael Thomas would be a spare piece to go?
By the way, it's great to hear your voice, man. I'm so glad you're back, man. I really missed you. I love hearing you and Errol talk about things, man. It brings me back to old times. So I love it. Errol, you guys are great chemistry, and I'm really glad you're back. I missed you, and I'm glad you're doing this again. Tyler, I always thought you had talent, Tyler. So.
Oh, thank you. You might want to say that one more time, just a little bit louder.
Errol knows it too. I just love how you guys bench it back and forth. But I think, look, if Thomas doesn't stay, it all depends on how Winston plays. I think Winston's good enough to get them back to where it's not that significant of a drop off. Now, obviously, Brees a Hall of Fame quarterback, and Winston's a guy who isn't. Okay, but you never know when someone like a Winston's going to take that next step. We saw it with a guy like Jim Plunkett, Plunkett was awful. He was a guy that had absolutely nothing but failure before he came to the Raiders, and then he just kind of got it. And same thing with like a Rich Gannon. He had just the same type of success when he went to the Raiders after failing with other teams. And you could say the same thing with Testaverde. So with some of these veterans who have talent, if they're put in a good situation, they might be able to achieve to where they lead their team to the playoffs and maybe even further. And I think Winston has that ability.
You look at the NFC, Seattle, a lot of people is going to take steps back. Russell Wilson in the offseason wanted his way out. Now, all of a sudden, he's still on the team. Okay. If they do have a bad season, is the coach Pete Carroll, being that he's the oldest coach in the NFL, and the last year we're going to see Russell Wilson in the Seattle Seahawks jersey. It seems like all those great players from the Legion of Boom, besides Wagner and him, this is a completely different team for those championship teams. Is this a year that they're going to take steps back? Jamal Adams got that big contract. I think it was a big mistake.
Yeah, right.
Do you see them a contender this year or a complete joke in the NFC?
Well, I don't know. I don't think it'll be a complete joke unless Wilson gets hurt. But look, Carroll will stay as long as Wilson's there, but Carroll's kind of on his way out, and there has really been no accountability as far as Wilson's concerned for that miserable mistake he made to cost them that Super Bowl. It seems like they'll blame everybody else, but he's never really taken accountability for that. And that's kind of boggles my mind. He's a great player. He belongs in a conversation among the great quarterbacks of today. But if you talk to people in Seattle, especially some of his teammates, they get some of the blame for that. And he kind of doesn't. Maybe because he's a likable guy, like everybody likes him. He's a good guy. But I think that right now, if you had to think of his legacy in Seattle, you can't dismiss that. And she still has the ability to kind of conquer that if he leads them to the playoffs and beyond, if he can get them back to another Super Bowl and in position to win. But that's going to be a very tough division, because I like the Rams with what they're going to do with Stafford. I've always liked Stafford. He was just in a bad position in Detroit, which is one of the worst organizations, along with the Jets in the NFL, as far as consistently winning or winning at all. And then the Niners, they had a down year last year because of injuries, but I think they'll be back. So those three teams right there, I think will really battle it out in the West. So the Seahawks, the days of the Seahawks running the West and kind of being the team to beat, they got two other teams right now, and the Cardinals too. They're developing nicely. Remember last year the Cardinals were in position to make the playoffs. They kind of folded a little bit at the end there, but I like their young talent. And I think it's going to be
like their coach.
A real
don't
tough,
like
yeah.
their coach.
Yeah, that's probably one of their weaknesses. But sometimes players can overcome that. They did, at least for most of last year. It all depends how their young quarterback from Oklahoma, how he continues to develop. They gave him some weapons. If his running game can help him out a little bit, I think it's a toss-up with all four of those teams.
Remember, Kyler Murray also had a shoulder injury towards the end of the year, too. That was a big reason they fell apart. So their offense was very conservative.
Right. That's a good point. Yep.
Last questions for us, because we've been talking about this all show. Is Carolina a pretender or a contender this year? It seems like everybody has them in the radar. And that's one. And number two, the Rams, are they Super Bowl contenders now that Matthew Stafford's a part of this team? They added Sonny Michel today or yesterday, losing Akers for the season with, I think, his ACL or Achilles. Are they a contender this year with the team that they have? And if they aren't, is McVay on his way out with what they gave up for him? Matthew Stafford, that was a huge trade for that team and that organization. So what do you have with these two teams?
I mean, I don't know about Carolina being a contender. I think they're in a tough division. Obviously, Tampa Bay and New Orleans. I think New Orleans is just as good or have as many unknowns when you look at the quarterback situation. Now, even though the Jets kind of ruined them, when you're with Adam Gase, I think he still has a lot to prove there. And the Rams. I really like Stafford, but you're right with McVay. He at one time was this guru and the offensive mind that was going to be the next generation of coaches in the NFL. And then Belichick kind of really smacked him in that Super Bowl where he exposed a lot of the things he was doing. And they've never really kind of gotten over that, at least with Goff. But like I said, Stafford is a guy who has the most passing yards in NFL history without ever winning a playoff game. So he's in great position to do that, and I really like him. I think he's going to really fit in well out there, and I think definitely they are a team to watch.
Last question: Green Bay, they win that division. A lot of people the last couple of days are still saying Green Bay didn't get any better. They got worse. Is Aaron Rodgers make that team and still put that team over the top? Back-to-back years in NFC title game. They were one play away from making the Super Bowl last year. Does Aaron Rodgers do it again this year with this Green Bay Packer team, or do they lose the division and not make the playoffs?
It's funny. You and I, before the year we're talking about Brady's legacy and if he's the best. And here you have Aaron Rodgers, who's in position to beat him and win that game. And how different is our conversation if that happened? You had 3 possessions there where Brady threw either picks or didn't drive them down the field. And
but he did play better than Brady in that NFC title game. He did.
What's that?
He did play better than Brady.
Yeah, I think he did. I think there were times, especially in the second half, where Brady didn't play very well, and Rodgers had a chance to kind of take that and win the game. You could blame the coaching for not going for it on 4th down, but and some of the play calls on those drives where they weren't able to prevent Tampa Bay from getting to the quarterback because it seemed like they just had free reign on him. But look at the other teams in that division, Errol. Okay, Minnesota is forever the inconsistency with Kirk Cousins. You never know what you're going to get from him for the huge contract he got. He's still underachieving. The Bears, like we had talked about, Fields is a young quarterback. I didn't realize how much he would fit into the pro game. He's a lot better than I thought he would be coming out of Ohio State. So I was wrong about that. He looks really good. Now, again, preseason is what it is. But I didn't even expect him to look this comfortable. He has really good chemistry with his wide receivers. I think he's a tough kid. He's a strong kid. And I think he'll grow into that role. And then you look at the other team in that division, Detroit. I mean, come on. Detroit's Detroit. You can't take them seriously. They'll do something to self-destruct, and they really don't belong in a conversation with legitimate football teams.
Well, Mark, I'm happy you joined us. I want you to come on next week. We're going to have the Beeve in the studios. We're going to do our picks next week of the regular season. We're going to say we're going to have pretenders, contenders. We're going to pick who are going to be the top 10 defenses, top 10 offenses this year, and we're going to talk about rookie and rewards next week. Who do we think is going to awards? Who's going to win Rookie of the Year, Defensive and Offensive Rookie of the Year, MVP? So we're going to go through that next week. We'd love for you to join us.
Thank you.
We might even try to get Garrard too. It would be nice to have all three. You, Garrard, the Beeve, and us three. That would be an interesting show. It really would.
I will ask him.
You'll see.
He really likes joining, and he likes you guys, and he's pretty busy now. But when he took time a couple weeks ago to do the show, that really meant a lot for him. So he really likes you guys, and he's definitely would come on again. So I will tell him. Yeah.
Awesome.
Are you doing all right? You guys doing okay?
We're all right, man. We're doing pretty good. We're doing really good, and I'm happy that you're okay and you're doing good. And one of these days we got to get, maybe I'll come down there and check you out.
I'd love to see it. Yeah, you come down here for a game. Now that I got press passes, we can go to the game.
Look at you, press passes to Alabama.
Nice. But yeah, I went to the SEC Media Day. That was fun.
Oh, nice.
Good for you, man. I'm happy that everything's going good. How's everything going with you and your girl?
It's going okay. I mean, she's back in COVID world because of the outbreak down here.
Yeah.
So she got to protect her son. So we had gotten to where we had finally gotten to see each other, and we hung out for a couple of weeks. And now we've had Alabama's one of the worst states because there's so many people that aren't vaccinated. So the Delta variant just shot through the roof, and we have hospitals overrun and everything. And so now I've been vaccinated. And I also take vitamin D and you got to consider I'm around kids all day because of substituting. So I'm like right in the middle of everything, but God's been good. He's protected me and allowed me to be able to stay and do the substituting, which I couldn't do. If I didn't have that, I'd be in trouble and develop, in learning more about high school football. That part of it is fun, Errol. But I do miss home. I really do.
I got you, man. I got you.
I miss
Mark,
you guys. I miss home.
We miss you too, Mark.
We miss you too.
I'll talk to you soon, bro.
All right, guys. God bless.
Have a good one, Mark.
Yep.
Mark Everett Kelly, great friend, great analyst over there in Alabama. Good guy, doing really well over there. He's got press passes, Alabama. He's a big Alabama fan too. So happy for him. Everything's doing well for him. So I'm good with all the health problems he's had over the last couple of years, and really I'm just happy that he's doing well. So.
He deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. It was a great show. Really was. Got a lot of great callers, banter, all the crazy stuff that we have. We will be back
it's hot.
Next week. There he goes, the hot word. Next week. This is the studio, man.
You turn the fan on.
Yeah, it's
not like I'm crazy.
No, listen, we had to shut the door because somebody over there is studying. But, we have You know, when you have, for everybody that doesn't know, when you're in a studio that is obviously really heavily soundproof, there is no breathe. You really don't have any breathing area. If you take out all the sound thing that I have, soundproof stuff that I have in the clouds that I have here, everybody in the studio, you know, people will hear what we're talking about and screaming about. So that's the way studios are, man, and you got to just deal with it. You know,
deal with it.
But it's the summertime. You know, summertime is almost over, and then there's fall and winter, and then you'll be bitching that it's too cold. So
I hate cold weather.
Yeah,
I'd much rather be sweating.
so you'll be bitching that it's too cold. So, anyways,
Well, I didn't bitch, I just said
that's
hot.
it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back next Wednesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Like I said, we'll have the Beeve on Thursday, so stay tuned for that. That'll be interesting, to say the least. And we'll probably have Gerard and Mark Everett Kelly. That's a pretty good show. 3 guests on a show. 6 people. That will be an interesting show to say the least. And maybe we'll. I'm sorry.
Jeff's gonna call, so that'd be 7.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get Blake on the show next week. It might be the week after, but we are going to get Blake on the show. So that's going to be interesting. He's going to talk about his what he does with his trading cards and obviously the NFL season for the Giants. Blake Martinez, the star linebacker for the Giants. That's it.
Star.
For the Giant fan, they think he is. So star linebacker for the Giant fan. Anyways, that's it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to the Weekend Crunch, our live show on 103.9 FM. If you don't live out here, you can check us out on what is it called again? I'm sorry.
TuneIn Radio.
TuneIn Radio. Not only TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio. Why TuneIn Radio? iHeartRadio is a bigger radio station, douche. Anyways, iHeartRadio, ladies and gentlemen. You can check us out. Look up LI News Radio, 103.9 FM. At 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. New York Eastern Time, and you can hear the show. It's a great show on the FM dial here on Long Island. That's it. We will be back next week. Until then, this is Errol Marks, Speedy Petey, and Tyler Harrison saying good night, and we'll talk to you then. Good night, everybody.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Saturday, August 28th, add it to your calendar. The Sports Betting Channel presents To Be Determined. Our new show starts at 8 o'clock out here in San Diego, 11 o'clock in New York, and then we're done just in time for the first game kickoffs for college football. You're going to get 4 totally different slices of sports. Blackhawk West joins us for Saturdays in Canada and some plays for the CFL game. What do you do when the easy sports data is trending in opposite directions? Well, Mo's going to help us decide what to do on Something's Gotta Give. There's also Paulo's plays. Now, if you're not betting soccer, you really should be. And this guy is very, very good. Finally, there's Wake and Bake, where sports betting meets marijuana. Hey, the games start early here in Southern California. Now, 9 o'clock's a lot easier when marijuana is legal. It's like having 4 shows in one. Check it out Saturday, August 28th on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, on the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network, and on the